Clyde Edwards-Helaire though is the 101. I actually he's like people are hating on that, but I like Mr. CEH now.
We are live, I think, on YouTube, the Fantasy Joes. Hi, this is that Riddle Librarian Ryan Livergood. Joining me this evening is Fantasy Joe _ Will on Twitter. It's Will Greenwood from the Pillow Palace in Minneapolis, Minnesota. What's up, Will? How are you?
Yeah, you can see a pillow in the background there. I actually meant to put that by the door, but I'll do that later. That's fine. We're here tonight. We're here to discuss the NFL draft rounds 2 and 3. Around, there's gonna be some mix in there of round one. This has been quite, in my opinion, a very, very fun draft for skill position players. And we're gonna break some models this year.
Yeah, so let's say hello to our podcast listeners because I just started recording to the cloud. So just introduce ourselves. You know us, Ryan, Will, what's going on? Yeah, breaking some models. We were just talking about the number of skill position players taken in the first 2 rounds alone, and then you throw in round 3. Basically, if you have a first or second round rookie pick in a 12-team league, or even a 14-team league, you can pretty much get anyone, with draft capital associated with them taken in the first or second round. That's pretty awesome. So, I'm talking, of course, about superflex leagues. So, you've been thinking about this now. You've seen the kind of how this has fallen, and we could still have some running backs or wide receivers taken here in round 3. We're live. Vikings are on the clock. But what are you thinking in terms of the top of your board for Superflex?
So I still think I think I'm taking Jonathan Taylor first. Still, I really like the landing spot on the Colts as far as their offensive line and immediate production in a win now team. I think even with a shortened offseason that he has the opportunity, if he doesn't boom right away, to be an absolute monster throughout the 2020 season. I mean, landing spot wise, I really like that.
Yeah, it's so great. I mean,
I really like the player. So
yeah, you take a guy that's uber talented like Taylor, and you put him into Indianapolis with that amazing offensive line that they have. It's just a great combination of things. I mean, yeah, you don't want to oversell landing spot, but he's a guy we liked already, and you add that premium landing spot, and it's hard for him not to be the 101 in my opinion as well. I think some other guys have arguments. If you look historically, first round running backs don't miss. So, I could see pitting Clyde Edwards-Helaire there, and his landing spot is unbelievable. But there are a couple of red flags with him. Me, Will, I like guys that are fast. I like guys that run like a 4.5 40. And the fact he ran that, the 4.6 40. I know though, in terms of like in his,
well, I mean,
in short space. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know what his 3 cone was. I know that has to factor in. But anyway, a few concerns.
Yeah, Kareem Hunt ran a 4.6 too, right?
Yes, he did.
And he had no problem running away from people in Kansas City.
No, he didn't.
That offense is just that's what I'm really struggling with here is you have, in my opinion, the number 1 offense in the league by a decent margin. With Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, everybody else out there, and now you're adding this other weapon that not only can run between the tackles, and it's a tough tackle. Like, he's a tough runner. Don't sell him too short on that. And being compact, like what is he? He's 5'8", 206. That's still a big boy for that height. Like, it's not going to be easy to take him down. Or maybe what are you measuring, like 5'7"? Anyway,
sturdy. He's a sturdy fella.
He's stout. He's going to hide between. Like, he could, like, him and Travis Kelce could wear the same pair of pants and he just run behind him, like a little joke of up the middle. But anyway, I just think that team is so creative and so high powered that it's hard I'm really struggling to not put him higher. I know that Damian Williams is still going to be there as far as like a pass blocking, part of it. And he probably was the Super Bowl MVP for that team, but I don't think that really matters. I think once you get somebody who has Edwards-Helaire's skill set in there, that he's just going to take more time on the field because he opens up the offense more, minus potentially pass blocking, which I also think is one of the more learnable skills when you move to the NFL.
Yeah, that probably is getting overplayed a bit, right? Because that's something that can be addressed, and it will be addressed. So I'm with you. That's one of the knocks, and people probably are overplaying that a little bit. So it's interesting if you look at some of the teams, Will, that were whether in the Super Bowl or we're almost there. Like Kansas City, they basically they added to a strength of their team, the offense. So you could have made the argument that they should have added help on defense there. And another team we were talking about before we went live is the Green Bay Packers. What are the Packers doing? I mean, the Packers, they were one win away from the Super Bowl, and they need help on defense, man. They need help to their run defense. If you watch that championship, they just got. I know it's San Francisco and they're a great team, but they were, other than the Chicago Bears, everyone ran all over them this year.
or add to the offense where you can compete with a team like that, and adding a backup quarterback doesn't do that.
Right. But I was listening to Chicago Sports Radio, and they were interviewing a radio personality from Sports Radio Milwaukee. And he was talking about Green Bay's pick of Jordan Love last night. And as he pointed out, I mean, that run defense has actually gotten weaker. They lost Blake Martinez in the middle, if you think about it. So,
and Fackrell.
Yeah, I mean, their defense is not as good. So, I mean, why not address that? It just that's your weakness. And I don't know. I mean, as a Bears fan, I guess I'm happy that the Packers are going this route. And we love AJ Dillon on the landing spot, but also,
yes, we do.
but a questionable move if you're just. I mean, this is a dynasty show, so we shouldn't.
Well, they lost Balaga on the offensive line. Granted, he's not been the most healthy player over time, so but he played all 16 games last year, so they had more holes to fill than a project quarterback. That's just what Jordan Love is. He has traits, right? He has upside. But how many quarterbacks have we gone through the years and said they have traits and upside and they haven't done anything with it? I mean, Josh Allen had traits and upside and he's doing well, but is he really a Super Bowl quarterback? Is he the heir apparent to a team that's going to win the Super Bowl? I still doubt that. He's a fine fantasy quarterback, but it's when push comes to shove, a team will figure out how to play against Josh Allen a lot easier than they will against Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
those kind of things.
Yeah, that's right. Even if Jordan Love can go in there and run that system the way it's supposed to be run, because I think Aaron Rodgers, one of the knocks I'm in through as his career is that he'll improvise, and that's what makes him such a great quarterback. But I know coaches don't like that; it causes tension. But it's harder to defend a guy like Aaron Rodgers than it is a system quarterback. So yeah, it's interesting. And then maybe we should jump ahead to tonight. And I think the big story of tonight, of course, would be the running backs started to go off the board fast and furious early in the second round. And the first running back taken in the second round, second running back taken in this draft, DeAndre Swift, of course, crushed some hopes and dreams of some Kerryon Johnson fans. Well, Kerryon, look at Twitter. People are declaring him dead. Our own Trey Barrett in the chat earlier was like, no, Kerryon is a buy. He's not dead yet. So
he dead.
Yeah. I mean, is he, if you look at your rookie board going into the NFL draft and now you look at it tonight, is he the guy that's had the biggest fall for you?
I mean, probably, because I still thought that his injuries were still possible to come back and be a starter and still be durable. Like he had the opportunity to still be a stud. And I think that's gone now. I just think Swift is a better overall running back.
And I don't think I asked that very well. So I guess what I should say is Swift, because everyone's talking about, at least what I'm seeing on Twitter and our league chats and that type of thing. Everyone likes landing spots for all these running backs with the exception of the Detroit Lions. People don't like Swift to the Lions. They don't like that. That's what I'm perceiving.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. I mean, I actually think it's a pretty good landing spot. I don't think it's horrible. That we talked about that last year. One of the reasons like Kerryon was that Detroit was beefing up their offensive line. So I think that offense will be good with Stafford back. So I think it's a good situation.
A healthy Stafford, like healthy Hawkinson throughout the year to add to that run blocking scheme. And I think Swift, I think he'll be a value because he's going to drop to one of the latter running backs taken would be my guess. Because when you're taking a running back, you want to take them. Opportunity just factors in more early on in a dynasty rookie draft because they need to produce points. Like you take running backs early in your rookie draft because you want points now. So I do feel like Swift could drop a little bit. He could still be a great value. I mean, Kerryon Johnson could just fade into the background.
Yeah, and I guess there's a world where Carry On he gets fired up and healthy and competitive, and he competes with Swift. But I think that Swift is a better talent overall than Carry On Johnson ever really was. So man, it's tough. If you look at that draft where that Carry On Johnson was in, Will, I was thinking about this. You had Ronald Jones and Royce Freeman and Sony Michelle, and we had hopes for a lot of these running backs, Rashad Penny, and look at the landscape now. How many of those running backs do you feel good about? I mean, Nick Chubb was in that class. Yeah, right. Yeah, Saquon and Chubb. So it's just funny, Even Darius Geis is getting some competition with
a wide receiver.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's probably, someone said he's probably the Chris Thompson now and he fills that role. I guess that's probably right.
Well, it's funny because I feel like the whole Redskins offensive scheme is based around positionless players. I mean, we'll see how it works. I hope the thing is you have that, but then you hired Ron Rivera to be your coach. You didn't see a really creative offensive hire for the OC, at least that I remember. I just don't.
It wasn't the same OC as he had before, because wasn't it Norv Turner, and then does Turner's son take over, or his assistant? I don't know.
No, I think Norv Turner was Carolina. Did he bring Norv with him?
I thought that Norv stepped away and then his son took over.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I don't know.
On the Redskins, though, in Carolina, Norv stepped away.
Yeah, Carolina.
But then you had Matt Rule, and then you had the passing game coordinator from the LSU come as the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the Washington Redskins.
Joe Brady. Oh yeah,
Rivera's there. That's why.
Yeah. So the Redskins picked up younger Turner.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I thought that he brought a lot of the coaching stuff with him.
Yeah,
and I thought that Turner's son was part of that. But we can vet that.
What's their goal with all this though? 8-8? I don't get it.
The defense is going to be wicked great, man. Should be anyway, in theory.
Yeah, I mean, but their secondary isn't very good. Not that it was better before. What's his face left to the Bills?
Yeah.
The overpaid cornerback from the Panthers. But anyway, long story short, I think that it's going to be an interesting team, and they're going to surprise teams again this year, and be potentially better. But again, for fantasy, hard to really want any Redskins. And I've traded for Darius Geis in dynasty leagues, but I'm still they added extra running backs. They got this guy now. I think if Geis can stay healthy, he'll be just fine, but who knows?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. There's nobody. I like Scary Terry McLaurin, but I'm not super excited to have him. I mean, I like him, but yeah, what John Harbaugh on the telecast is going crazy. Who did the Ravens take care? I think Kerryon Johnson is still younger than Keyshawn Vaughn. So what the Buccaneers should have done is just trade that third round pick for Kerryon Johnson. Call it a day. Oh man, people would have
he is younger than Keyshawn Vaughn.
Yeah.
So that I honestly think that would have been a smarter move.
Duvernay, the wide receiver from Texas, went to the Ravens at 92. That's why John Harbaugh was so excited. So there we go. Yet another wide receiver taken.
Actually, I think the Ravens have done pretty well for themselves.
The Ravens have had a really great.
I think getting Queen in the first round was a good value. Just smart pick. It
was one of their biggest needs too. I mean, I think
it all aligned, and he fell for whatever reason. So,
they've had a great draft, and I think that's good to add to those wide receivers there in Baltimore. So I think that's a good pick. So let's see.
What's next?
I'm trying to think. So how do you rank the running backs, Will, in this class?
All right, I'm gonna go. Let me pull up the draft list really quick. But my first two are gonna be Jonathan Taylor, and then I'm going Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
All right. Wow. Okay. Taylor and Helaire, and
then I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go Dobbins, Akers, Swift.
That's interesting. So, okay. So, but going into the draft,
Yeah.
you had Swift at number 2, right?
Yeah, I had Jonathan Taylor at number 1, and I was getting more
Right.
flexible about it. We didn't have a lot of podcasts up into it, so we didn't get to talk about it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I was being more open to the fact that I think DeAndre Swift has a skill set that could be very valuable in the NFL. And I still think he'd be a value in rookie drafts, but I just don't, I don't know. It's such a sour taste in my mouth. And that shouldn't like cloud everything, but it does. I think Hilaire going in the first round is massive with that pick for the Chiefs and in that offense. So I still love the run blocking, road grading offensive line that Indianapolis has. So that's still going to be number 1 because I think that's just for like even touchdown potential. Like his ceiling is so high there without even pass catching. And then Edwards-Helaire, it could take him a year to get in.
Yeah, you know what? Well, when I look at these 5 guys, to me it's tough. I mean, I think probably Taylor and Edwards-Helaire probably land in like a tier 1 for me. But when it comes to Swift, Akers, and Dobbins, they're all pretty tight for me. So I guess if I have the 105 and I'm drafting all running backs and one of those guys whatever guy slips to me, I think I'm happy. Because I still think Swift is an amazing talent. I do like that Detroit landing spot a lot more than a lot of people, I think. But I think obviously Cam Akers going to Los Angeles, that's good. I know their offensive line is not as good as it used to be, but he's used to running behind a really crappy offensive line, so he'll be right at home there. And obviously going to the Ravens, I mean, that's pretty exciting. Even if he has to sit a year behind Mark Ingram or doesn't get as much time on the field as we want him to.
Well, yeah, and the thing is too is if Mark Ingram runs just as he did last year, we were surprised that he didn't get more banged up, and he kind of did going into the playoffs. And so we forget that he did get banged up a little bit by the end of the year. And so I think you're going to see a pretty big opportunity for Dobbins. And it's nice if Ingram can take the early load where Dobbins doesn't look like a fool on the field with not enough offseason program. And so the team still has faith in him, and then he can come in and do his business.
Yeah. So Keyshawn Vaughn, any thought of jumping him up?
Oh, he's jumped up. Like what? So
no, I mean, like with this group of running backs we're talking about. That's what I mean. I'm sorry.
So I'm taking AJ Dillon still over Keyshawn Vaughn.
Oh yeah, I forgot about AJ Dillon, which is I'm with you too.
Oh yes,
I didn't forget about him, but
how could you forget? Such a big,
he's such a big fella.
Sturdy man. I'm so excited for AJ. It's Ryan. It's crazy to me that he went in the second round and he went to a team that has a great offense, even though their offensive line might be a little bit different. Aaron Jones has not been the stigma of a good, like a well-behaved person outside of the team, getting caught with pot that one time.
Right.
Well, now this pick just says a lot about what they think with their running back room at this moment, that they thought this was a big enough need and that AJ Dillon was a big enough value that they took him in the second round. And I also just think AJ, he's just really good.
He is good. And it's definitely going to hurt, Aaron Jones. I forgot his name for a second. Already forgetting about him because he's a free agent next year. They're probably not going to re-sign him. He's going to be too expensive. So I think, and he's going to take away goal line work, Dylan, from Jones.
Yeah, and heavy speculation. What if something's going on with Aaron Jones that we don't know about?
Yeah, that's a possibility. I mean, I suppose, but I feel like that would have come out.
Heavy speculation. But I mean, second round's really high for AJ Dillon. Nobody had him in the second round.
I think our friend Paul Perticchese did have him in the second round, or at least day 2.
But Paulie P's like a savant, so that doesn't count.
But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, there weren't too many mock drafts, if any, that I saw going into this that had him going in the second round.
And then Darrington Evans just got picked up by the Titans.
Oh, really?
The explosive little guy from Appalachian State goes to the Titans.
Yeah,
the Deion Lewis replacement, and we all know how valuable Deion Lewis was last year.
Well, a lot of people like Evans. I mean, Daniel Jeremiah loves him, and Bucky Brooks, and some other people I've listened to that he's got a lot of love. I mean, I think Paul was talking him up a little bit. I think Waldman likes him too.
Yeah.
So.
And I think too, Derrick Henry isn't infallible. So, but behind they redrafted for what Conklin left, right, to the Browns. So they drafted Conklin's replacement. You could have like run blocking is a lot easier to refill than pass blocking in the NFL. So maybe that's still a good little stash. I'm having a hard time liking. Like I keep on liking where these running backs are going and by their round and by the historical values of that, but we're gonna have to make some lines in the sand here, Ryan, for when we're pivoting to wide receivers. So in a non-super flex
No,
draft,
no, we're not. No, we're not. Let's take running backs.
yeah.
I
So
got
like,
wide receivers on my teams.
but where do you stop? So in a non-super flex draft, to me, I'm taking Swift, Taylor, Edwards-Helaire, Cam Akers, and J.K. Dobbins before I take any wide receivers, and I might even put A.J. Dillon up there.
Yes.
I might even take AJ. That's 6 spots. This first 6 picks are running backs now. That's
fine. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. That's great. There are a lot of running backs. I think the fact that AJ Dillon has the draft capital tied to him that we didn't necessarily think he was going to get, it just makes this running back class deeper. And I think that's awesome. And you're going to be able to wait because I think that Dillon's going to go after Keyshawn Vaughn in a lot of drafts because people are going to love that Tampa Bay landing spot.
Why would you not? You know,
right.
Keyshawn Vaughn going to there, that's fine. If he's older but still gets those 2 years of production with Tom Brady, and he's RB 15, whatever overall, that's a big win.
Yeah.
So maybe like you have a hard depending on when your rookie draft is, what kind of off-season programs and whatever. It's so interesting. So many running backs this year in the first 3 rounds that are relevant. Last year we were scrambling. We were propping up guys who were clear cuffs, like Damian Harris and Alexander Hamilton. I kid. Alexander Madison. Alexander Madison just says, "Just you wait." Just
to say, well, let's wait till Dalvin Cook holds out, and then Madison is running back 1 this year. So just pump the brakes there a little bit.
I mean, Dalvin Cook will just hold out with another knee injury. It's fine.
Or that works too.
Yeah. I think Dalvin Cook holding out would be one of the biggest mistakes of his career, a la Melvin Gordon.
Yeah. So the Green Bay just took a tight end here in the 3rd round. The tight end from Cincinnati. I'll be honest. I've really not been tuned into too many of these tight ends other than, what I thought was obvious guys, but this is a guy I've never heard of that went into the 3rd round. I mean, maybe I heard of him. I just don't.
I really, really, truly want to hate on Green Bay's draft, except that my love for AJ Dillon is clouding my vision, and it's, they're doing a horrible job. They're doing a horrible job.
Well, we think they are. We'll see how it plays out in a couple of years. If AJ Dillon is,
they're in a win now window. You don't draft tight ends and backup quarterbacks.
AJ Dillon can help them win now. He can help them win now.
Yeah, if AJ Dillon has 1,500 rushing yards and dominates the playoffs, we'll call it a day.
Can happen. I mean, I think he can help, and who knows? Maybe this tight end can help them too. It's not popping on my app. Oh, Josiah Gadara from Cincinnati.
Yeah, I had him as the 3rd tight end off the board too.
Yeah, John Bosch may be popping on, so we can ask him about if he joins us about that guy. Okay. Where do you put Zach Moss then? Okay, let's say so after Dillon, you start drafting wide receivers. How long until you think about Keyshawn Vaughn and even Zach Moss? I mean, that's like later in the 2nd round for you.
Yeah, I want to I think I'm taking a bunch of wide receivers before Zach Moss. And I'm definitely taking Keyshawn Vaughn over Zach Moss.
And is your first wide receiver still Rager? Now you've slept on it for 24 hours?
Yes. I think it still is. It's hard, Ryan, because I like it's going to sound odd, but I don't mind CeeDee Lamb as the number 1 wide receiver in Dallas.
The more I think about it, and I've heard a few people talk about it today, remember Dynasty, you got to look long term, and I think Judy is the best wide receiver in this class, and I think he is the one guy that could ascend to be like this wide receiver one, and I think he could do it in Dallas. I mean, Amari Cooper is so inconsistent, and Michael Gallup, although I think Michael Gallup's pretty talented, he doesn't.
Is it my internet or yours?
So that is my one hesitation. You pass on him, and then you might regret it.
I missed all of that.
Yeah, my internet connection was unstable. I was just talking about, long story short, CeeDee Lamb, I like him. I may regret passing on him for some of these running backs at the end of the day. I mean, I do think he's really, really good.
Yeah, I don't fault anybody for taking the running backs over the wide receivers, but I do think that landing spot in Dallas isn't bad for him to be that, Thunder, or he's like the lightning to Amari Cooper's thunder or something like that. So I don't know. He's the yak guy versus Amari Cooper he had some big, pass catches last year. Amari Cooper also hasn't been like the staple of health. He's had a lot of like lower body injuries that he's played through. And when he has played through them, he hasn't been a great fantasy producer. So I just like Rager enough. And I think Philadelphia is a good enough landing spot where I think I might go Rager to try to then capitalize on his value versus CD. But again, in this season that we're going into, probably going to prop up running backs anyway.
Well, one thing though, I think we might have forgot about last night, or maybe we didn't, was it's not like Philadelphia has no wide receivers. One of the issues they had last year is all the wide receivers were broken. And that might be different this year with Deshaun Jackson. Maybe he can come back healthy. Alshon could maybe come back healthy. So maybe the ceiling is not as high for Rager as we want it to be. Because if those guys are healthy, and I know that's a big if, if you're looking to capitalize on value among the wide receiver group, like you talked about, I don't know. I don't think there's any guarantee that any of these wide receivers are going to have years that, of course, there's never a guarantee, but I don't look at any of them and think, oh, this guy, I got a really good feeling he's going to put up a big rookie season.
Yeah. And I think Arcega-Whiteside could still like prop back up again. I think he's a great buy. Actually, I mean, he had a lost rookie year. He was lost out there. You could explain away it in multiple ways other than just him being bad. And that I don't know, I could still see him becoming a great contributor to a fantasy team.
What about guys like Mecole Hardman, Paris Campbell? Wide receivers last year that were second round wide receivers. Some people were pretty excited about them. Didn't really do terrible amounts in 2019.
I still really like Paris Campbell.
Because I think this draft has in theory hurt his value because I think they see that adding Pittman to that wide receiver core and
Pittman's just another tight end. He's the Eric Ebron of the team now.
But I mean the perception out there may be that Indianapolis that he's not going to be as used like I want him to be used. So I could be wrong on that. That's just my own perception of things.
Well, it's hard to really judge a player like him developing. Like he could completely fall out of the league quickly, or Paris Campbell could be used better in that Indianapolis offense and stay healthy. What he got hurt it was pretty early on last year when he had like a couple explosive plays and then got hurt, and that's always is he not ready for the NFL? Is his body not ready for the abuse that it's going to put on you? Is he going to get hurt again? Then he's just kind of done.
Yeah.
Like that, and this was said before, the Colts just needed to bolster their wide receiver core. When you had Zach Pascal as your number one wide receiver at some point in time, that's a big mistake.
I think we've got a guest joining us, Will. It is the biggest Jalen Rager supporter you'll ever meet. Kane, what's going on?
Why are you lying?
He still has Tyler Johnson, wide receiver one. Welcome.
Not that bad.
You almost got in trouble on Twitter, man. That someone was really going after you at it hard about that. They really got angry, didn't they?
I can guarantee you they're a Philly fan.
Yeah,
Wait,
that's
wait,
probably
wait,
that's
wait.
probably pretty good odds.
A Philly fan getting angry online? Not possible.
Shocker.
They just injected themselves with some bleach, and they're raring to go.
Yeah, apparently that's just all you need to do, right? Stay
Yeah.
healthy.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm trying to figure out this Zoom thing. I don't normally do this.
Oh, well, you're doing great.
You already have it
Okay.
figured
We can
out.
hear you if you we hear your TV in the background, but
Oh, you want me to turn it down?
maybe.
There's not a lot to see.
So, okay, what are you thinking about this draft so far? And do you play in a lot of Superflex leagues? You're a Superflex guy, right?
I play in one
one.
quarterback league.
Okay.
The rest are all super flex.
That's what I thought. That's the mainstream here. Even though DLF hasn't figured that out yet for whatever reason, that is the mainstream.
Right.
I'm hoping that changes. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So what are you thinking about this draft? I mean, if I look at this and I see all of these, I mean, it feels like we've had 100 wide receivers taken. Just the first two rounds alone looks like 13. You got some go off in the third round. Running back landing spots seem to be good in the second round. You got some quarterbacks taken early. You got to be excited about. So, what are your overall thoughts?
Yeah, it seems to me my top 8 are pretty locked.
Yeah. Okay.
At this point, right, you have 5 running backs, 3 quarterbacks. That should be your top 8 in super flex. I don't think there's a landing spot of any of these receivers that should be above any of these running backs.
Yeah, this is perfect. We were just talking about that. We were just talking about we're the Fancy Joes we're team running back, generally speaking. And we were talking about last night. I think it was Elvin Silva, looked at wide receivers taken to the first round the past, I don't know, it was a decade or something. And if you look at those numbers, those hit rates, it's pretty scary out there. Wide receivers are tough to evaluate. And I know this is a new era of the NFL, but they really scare me taking them in rookie drafts. And I feel you miss an opportunity with these running backs too. I mean, we've got some real, potential fantasy studs coming out. So who's your number one running back? Okay. Or you want to share?
So I have right now, I have 2 guys that are in a tier of their own, and that's Jonathan Taylor and DeAndre Swift.
All right. So I'm glad because I was, I think that Swift, it just seems to me, at least some things I've seen on Twitter and in league chats, that people really like the landing spots for running backs, but they don't like it for Swift. And I think it's great for Swift. So do you think that he's going to slide a little bit?
Well, so first I'll just dive into, if we look at the track record of the offensive coordinator, which is obviously Darrell Bevell. So first he started with Minnesota and Adrian Peterson. Then he went to Marshawn Lynch and rode him hard. And then he went to, Chris Carson. And then now he has another bell cow running back. So we have to expect that, provided Swift can stay healthy, that he's going to be the guy all season long.
Yeah. And also when Marshawn Lynch got hurt, he rode Thomas Rawls really hard. Darrell Bevell is a 1 running back per game guy.
Right. And you can even see it last year with the Lions, right? So as soon as Kerryon got hurt, then we saw, was it Ty Johnson?
Yeah.
Get the workload. And then after that, we saw one other guy
is Bo Scarborough. From the ashes, like the Phoenix rising from the dust.
We clearly have seen a track record with Darrell Bevell that he's going to ride these guys hard, which means for fantasy, we want them for, 4 or 5 years.
We also saw Wes Hills go 2 touchdowns in a game, right?
We've seen it all with Darrell Bevell. He's a monster.
He's a horrible offensive coordinator, but loves to run running backs into the dirt. So I didn't really think about that before, Ryan. And Kane, that's a great point.
Yeah. So I Swift will fall. So I would assume that Swift's going to be at least the 3rd running back off the board. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a great fit in Kansas City. The best part about Clyde is you're always going to get that receiving floor. So he's at least going to get 50 catches a year. So in these PPR leagues, that's really going to help. But the issue is, can we really see Clyde Edwards-Helaire getting, the 200 plus touches a game, or a season, that we want from a bell cow running back like that? I'm not sure. Could we possibly see, what Miles Sanders could do with Philadelphia, like that 175 touch 60, 70 target season? Absolutely. And does that make him a running back 1? Yes, it does on that offense. So I think, there's a possibility that you can always put him in that top tier as well. I try to really stick to the tiers that I have and not let landing spot have someone jump a tier. But I think if someone's going to do that, it's going to be Edwards-Helaire, just based on his landing spot.
Yeah. Well, we talked about this beforehand, and I had a hard time not taking Swift 5th out of the group. But I don't think that's like a terrible opinion, but I'm not super solid on it.
Yeah. I'm just curious, with all these running backs. Like, the thing I'm really curious about is, like, are people going to draft Keyshawn Vaughn really high now?
Yes, is the answer.
They are. The buzz we're seeing is that, yeah.
So that's one I want to really look at. I think J.K. Dobbins went to a perfect fit. He's a zone run monster. And so they went to the team that runs more zone reads than anyone else. Perfect fit there. You have Cam Akers going to the Rams. Confused me a little bit, just because the Rams love to run that zone concept, and they didn't go for J.K. Dobbins, so that confused me a little bit. But I can see how Cam Akers would fit in that offense as well. And these top 5 running backs in these spots, I'm not taking a wide receiver over them.
Yeah, all winners.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And and then AJ Dillon gets 2nd round draft capital, and I'm just woo.
Yeah.
I've been touting AJ Dillon for so long, and every time someone asks, "How can you like AJ Dillon? He's not going to go day 2." And I said, someone's going to fall in love with that crazy size and speed combo. And lo and behold, 2nd round draft capital.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time not falling harder in love with AJ Dillon to put that 6th running back in front of the wide receivers.
That's where I draw the line.
No, I'm just having a hard time. Like, it's not like, this is not like a hard and fast passion, I'm going to cry about it opinion. But it was also somebody who's like, oh, I don't like that pick. And I said, my pants are already off. Thank you, JJ.
It's a really good pick.
I don't really like the Packers draft, though.
Oh, no, it's awful. Which is great, because I'm a Vikings fan.
But I want their offense to be good for fantasy. So, like, they lost on the offensive line, they lost on the defense, and they have replaced it with a backup quarterback and a running back that I think could easily take over the backfield, but he doesn't. He doesn't have the pass catching chops of what they have now.
Yeah. Ooh, Patriots trading up. It's weird. But yeah, I think AJ Dillon totally has the ability to get drafted, or excuse me, not get drafted, but he has that ability. We've seen that.
Take right there.
It's been a long day. But I think he needs, for me, he's the running back 6. He was before this. I think this only cements that place. I think Keyshawn Vaughn is going to be a big mover, and I think he's going to get overdrafted.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think we're locked up with you on that. It does seem, though, the buzz we're seeing in league chats and stuff is that people are excited about Keyshawn Vaughn going to Tampa Bay. I mean, obviously you got like the landing spot, but you gotta keep that in check sometimes, man. People get in love with that landing spot, but you got to look at the talent. Oof.
Can I make fun of Will's favorite college team real quick?
Of course, anytime.
Hey, Will, how does it feel to have the 3rd best recruiting in 2021 out of all the teams in just the Big Ten West?
I mean, we've never had good recruiting classes. I don't know why.
That's not true. You were top 30 last year.
Yeah, it's fine. It doesn't really worry me.
All right, I just thought I'd ask because Minnesota's on a recruiting roll.
Yeah, we'll see. As soon as Minnesota beats Iowa, we'll discuss it.
2 years ago?
No, not that time.
Oh, okay. I don't know which times count anymore.
Only when both teams are ranked.
Oh, so when you were ranked and we weren't, and we still beat you, that didn't count?
No, that's just like
Okay.
Iowa playing down to the competition.
Oh, you played down so hard you lost.
I see. The thing is, I don't see Minnesota as big of rival as Minnesota fans do.
Oh no, you're not our biggest rival.
Yeah, but you guys, I mean, you've been so much worse than your rivals in the past. You're trying to find new ones.
No, we've had the same one with Wisconsin for 150 years.
Does Wisconsin feel that
What?
way?
Yes, they do.
What do you guys play for? What is the trophy? There's like some
With Wisconsin, it's the Axe.
the axe. That's what I thought. That's
We play
Paul
for
Bunyan's
a pig,
axe.
right?
Yep, the Floyd of Rosedale.
Rosedale.
Yeah, those trophies are fun. I'm just sitting over here in the corner as an Illinois fan because I have really no room to cheer about anything.
Well, you guys have rivals of like Indiana,
Northwestern, and they beat us
Purdue.
sadly. Yeah, not Purdue's not really a big rival, so it sucks to be an Illinois football fan because I guess they're getting incrementally better, but Beckman really set them back big time. It was just the worst hire ever, and he could not recruit to save his life. So they're digging out of a big hole, and I don't know Levy is exactly the best fit either. But anyway, that was
a big win against Wisconsin, though.
That was big, yeah. That was big. So and they're probably coming up a little bit, but I think as an Illinois fan, the best I can ever hope for is just maybe get it to a crappy bowl game every year. Maybe once a decade you have a team that goes to a New Year's Day bowl. It's low expectations for me for Illinois football. So.
And what's funny, Kane, is I do root for Minnesota outside of when they play Iowa. It's good for the local economy. Well, everybody's happier when Minnesota's winning.
I think just overall, like if we're just talking, Big Ten West in general, like the more, the more good teams that there are in the West, the better, right? It just helps everyone else in the West when you're, losses to ranked teams mean less and wins against good teams mean more. So I don't think, Minnesota finally being on the rise should be bad. I think it's terrific for everyone in general.
Yeah, it's always a good thing when programs are on the rise in the Big Ten, and that's what you need. I remember the glory days when, the Big Ten was the best conference in the country, or at least in terms of other conferences, been the best conference in the country. When you had, as much as I hate Michigan and Ohio State, when those teams are good, and Michigan's been down for a while, this is better for the Big Ten, right? And if everyone else,
Ohio State needs to go through some down years.
I hate those teams, but I'm saying that
like a decade of down, because Michigan had their down years when they had what's his face that came from West Virginia, and then ended up in Arizona. They had a few bad years.
They've been down for a while now. I would still say Michigan football is, down compared to how it has been historically.
Yeah, and one of the most boring games I've ever watched in my entire life was Iowa Michigan last year. Just terrible.
I think overall, just what sets things up for Michigan is like they recruit so well, and they're constantly a top 10 recruiting class, and then every year they can't follow through with the recruits that they get.
Yeah,
I think that's what really kills Michigan in a lot of people's eyes. But like every year they'll start, ranked top 15, and every year they'll end ranked top 25. But their wins aren't pretty and their losses aren't pretty. So their games just aren't pretty. So it's really tough. If I were to be a Michigan fan, thank heavens I'm not.
All right. Well, that was Big Ten football this week with Fancy Joe's.
That was
and that's Heavy_Kane.
I'll get more emphatic next time, Kane, that we chat.
No, that's.
I just hope we have a college season. It's just like
I'm hoping.
Any of these third round tight ends excite you, Kane, that are going off the board? Would we just see Dalton Keene, tight end from Virginia Tech, going to the New England Patriots?
That's what they traded up for?
That's back-to-back tight ends for the Patriots.
Yeah, they're loading up. Going back to the glory days.
These don't excite me.
Ain't
about it.
What's your most exciting under the radar pick so far that you feel like you're an outlier on, fantasy wise?
Can I still say AJ Dillon, or is that?
That doesn't count in this grouping.
I think if he would have landed anywhere better, it'd be Lynn Bowden Jr. But I really dislike him going to the Raiders.
Yeah, I kind of like Brian Edwards going to the Raiders.
Oh, that's a good pick. But
it's funny that they're both Raiders and they're back-to-back picks.
I think the thing that really gets me with Lynn Bowden Jr. is that he's such a huge weapon, and he can be used in the run game. He can be used in the pass game. So he can really do it all. And then because he's not clearly a true wide receiver yet, right? Because obviously his last year at Kentucky, he ended up playing quarterback due to injuries. So he was the Wildcat quarterback and actually led the SEC in rushing at over 7 yards a carry. But you add all that together, and you think that he should be a really great prospect, but then he goes to a team that doesn't often, let's just say they're not really forward thinking with their play calling. And, right now, Lynn Bowden Jr. is going to need manufactured touches as he, works on the rest of his game. And I don't think he's going to get that. And I think he might fall to the wayside a little bit, but I love him as a player.
Yeah.
Darrington Evans going to the Titans is super interesting.
Because I struggle with it.
Well, because
I want to be happier about it, but I just like.
Well, I'm just wondering, does that mean that Derrick Henry's not getting re-signed then? He's on the franchise tag right now. Does that mean that Derrick Henry's not going to get a new contract because they just wasted third-round draft capital on a running back?
I think that just means, yeah, or it could mean that he's back there as a potential high upside pick, and next year they take a first-round running back or something like that.
I could also honestly see them, re-signing, finding a way to re-sign Derrick Henry and having Darrington Evans now have that
Dion Lewis role.
Well, yeah, when Dion Lewis was healthy and younger, he was effective in that role.
Yeah,
and I think you could honestly have a guy like that in that offense, knowing that Derrick Henry's not only going to catch 25 passes a year
for like 1,000 yards somehow, because at the end of the game's on screen passes.
Oh yeah, he's going 90.
Yeah. I think something that we haven't discussed yet, and Ryan too, how about the potential rise at this point in time for James Conner? He's kind of escaped the draft
for 1 year.
Yeah. What more do you want for the starting running back there going into his fourth year?
Well, we have to expect that he's not going to get re-signed.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Right.
But at least you can get one more year out of him.
Right, but then the question comes, like, what are you willing to buy him for?
Yeah,
I'm not giving up a first-round rookie pick for him.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to sell for less than the 202.
Okay, super flex, I assume.
Right. Yeah. So my guess is he's going to die on rosters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm willing to pump and dump him though this year.
Yeah, I guess that's your play. You just you hold on to him. I mean, you could shop him now, see what you can get, because he now has recovered some value that he's lost, or you hold on to him, and if you're not a contender, you sell him to someone at the deadline, right? I mean, I don't know how much you can get for him, but probably the smart thing is to sell him now.
Well, we have to see, if you want to sell him at the deadline, we have to see a boom from him. Like he needs to go off the first couple of games or something, or else we're not going to be able to sell him for anything. And I'm not going to sell him for peanuts.
Yeah, you're gambling that he's going to have a good year, a good stretch of games, and that certainly is a gamble.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, running backs are so crazy with value, because if you, we were talking about the carry-ons class where we were so excited at the time. We were excited about Royce Freeman and his landing spot, and Rojo and all these guys that now, just a mere couple of years later, we're like, okay, in that class we had Saquon and we had Nick Chubb, and that was pretty much it off the top of my head. So it's so funny. Running backs just Yeah, you just have to go year to year with these guys because you just, they get hurt, something happens.
Yeah, they're so volatile. So it both gives credence to try to get one stud on your team that you can have for 4 or 5 years, but it also gives credence to that zero running back, right? Because you can plug and play so many guys for 1 or 2 years that will have some, top 24 fantasy games. So no, Vikings, just make the pick. Don't trade it.
Yep. Another one, I kind of thought Rashad Penny would survive the draft, but then now Chris Carson has too through the first 3 rounds, basically. I think he put some interest into them. The Niners didn't go with any running back of any value. They just drafted another wide receiver, which is an interesting pick there. We've just seen teams that have kind of these fringe running backs, like the Falcons didn't take a running back in the first 3 rounds at this point, and I don't think they have a pick left here. So are we boosting Todd Gurley for next year? I know it's again a short-term answer, but even in Dynasty, when you go to running backs, a 1-year answer isn't a bad thing. Le'Veon Bell easily survived it. It's I don't know.
Yeah, so I think those are some guys that I'm targeting. So here's some possible trades that that I would be okay with going for. Let's say that I have a guy Devin Singletary, right? People still believe that even with the addition of Zach Moss, that he could still, be the guy and get some receptions and 200 carries, things like that. So let's say you have him. I would rather trade him and get a Todd Gurley and a 2021 pick than just hold on to Devin Singletary.
Yeah, because he had I told this to Ryan earlier, they basically drafted the equivalent of 36-year-old Frank Gore.
But Frank Gore was faster.
Yeah, but 36-year-old Frank Gore in a foot race, it would be close at this point, I think.
I think Frank would still have him. I've heard that Zach Moss is actually still running his 40.
We're gonna miss Frank the Tank when he's finally gone. Just like Ryan Fitzpatrick. No, we're gonna miss Ryan Fitzpatrick when he's done with the NFL.
Yeah, so I think that's just my take is I would rather, get if I have a guy that I think has a 2 or 3 year window of being a low end running back 2, I'm gonna trade that for a person that has 1 year of a low end RB2 plus something. Because I think that works out better in your long-term dynasty outlook rather than just holding on to Singletary and hoping, if that makes sense.
Yeah. What about a guy like Pittman going early in the second to Indianapolis? Older prospect at this point in time. Huge prospect coming from, Devy into college. But then kind of disappointed. Where do you sit on a Pittman who stayed 4 years?
I think it's a great pick. The way that he fits into that offense is really, really nice. So I kind of liken it to when Frank Reich was the OC at Philadelphia, and we saw Alshon Jeffrey be fantasy relevant. He's going to take that Alshon Jeffrey role that does a lot of posts, digs, curls, things like that. I think that's where he's going to find a lot of his value. He's taking a drink of wine. What is that?
Oh, it's just water. I mean, if you have cats, you drink out of a water bottle with a cap because she knocks over glasses or dips her paw in them.
I was like, damn, he's just drinking wine out of the bottle. Thug.
No, it's like a. I mean, it also kind of matches my sweatshirt, but as thuggish ruggish as I am, it's just water.
It's day 2 of the NFL draft, gentlemen. I mean, of course we're going to be drinking wine out of the bottle. This is exciting.
Yeah, there you go.
Man, I still am just. I knew this was coming, but with especially with the wide receivers, but with the running back landscape, looking at it as it's unfolded in the draft, I'm just so excited, especially about Superflex drafts. It's going to be so fun and so crazy. And it's always fun in these drafts. One of my favorite things, Kane, is to see how people see the board differently, and we all play in leagues with people that are more casual, some that are more hardcore. You've got, tape guys, there's the analytics guys, and they see these players differently, and they gauge them differently. It's going to be fun this year. It always is fun, but man, there's just so much talent, it seems.
This draft just also got a lot deeper with where running backs went this year.
Yeah, we didn't see any of the top 5 get wasted, which I assumed like one would, because I just thought Gettleman would take one, just for shits and giggles.
Yeah. Well, I can't trade down. It's against my beliefs, so.
Yeah, so, we didn't see anyone like draft one of the top 5 running backs and waste that. So, I guess that's good for us, but at the same time, it's going to be tough picking between them.
Yeah. Yeah. Mostly in wide receivers too.
Right.
Okay, so we know you're heavy early with running backs, but what about quarterbacks? Are you if memory serves, you were number 1 on Tua when we had our podcast, which was months ago. Still am. Yeah.
I think the best method right now is, if you're a Tua guy, trade 101 for 102 plus. If the guy really wants Burrow and he won't take Tua, I'll trade out of that pick, get my preferred quarterback, and get a little something. If not, I'm still probably going to take Joe Burrow at the 101, even though I don't like him as much, because I think he's going to have immediate fantasy return.
Yeah, in super flex, I think I'm going Taylor first still.
At the 101?
Yeah.
Why?
For immediate return. I mean,
Joe Burrow will start.
Yeah, but with the quarterback landscape is so deep now. I'm not worried about acquiring more quarterbacks at this point in time that you can't trade another player for one or figure out a deal for somebody else that will put up more fantasy stats faster than what Burrow will.
Well, you do you, and I wish you and I played in a league together. Because, right, so 32 quarterbacks is all that can start, but 40 plus running backs are going to put up some stats that every week that won't be bad. So yeah, I realize the difference between a top tier running back and the rest, and Jonathan Taylor isn't even my RB1, so that ain't it. So that's just me. I will always take the quarterback because quarterbacks seem to get hurt more often than stud running backs. And so I want to just get that value as soon as possible, because I know that as soon as, Burrow's going off the board at QB 11 right now. So that means you're taking him at about the 301 in startups. So that means I can trade him for any running back basically beyond that plus, and I'm easily getting a return on my investment.
Yeah, I think in Superflex leagues, if you've got the 101 or 102 and you want one of those running backs, yeah, I mean, definitely use that to your advantage. That's what you're going to do, Will, right? If you got the 101 and you don't want to take Burrow or Tua and you want one of those running backs, you're going to try to trade back a little bit, right? I mean, that's the smart play, because on the clock, the 101.
The QB needy team that wants to move up for that, assuming that I have, well, and even like team build agnostic, because you can trade during the offseason. And I don't think quarterbacks are going to start hot. And especially going into this year with no offseason program, I think running backs are going to integrate a lot faster than quarterbacks is a general assumption, which could be easily wrong. But then that accrued value for a stud running back and the points that they're going to produce versus the quarterback, let's say Burrow puts up like the 15th best quarterback season this year, that versus the 22nd best quarterback isn't going to be as big of a difference if Jonathan Taylor is like the 5th best running back versus the 15th best running back. It's going to be a massive chasm there. So week over week, I'll be accumulate wins and then hopefully into the playoffs, be able to win that, ideally, win that league and then call it a day.
So do you believe then that you're going to be able to trade Jonathan Taylor for Joe Burrow plus?
I think in equivalent value, yes. I don't think. But
what would the equivalent value be then?
Another starting quarterback, let's say in the 15 to 20 range, plus a second round pick.
Okay. I disagree, but that's okay. I think honestly that, and my quarterback lover just hopped on. But yeah, I think,
by the way,
I love John. But I think I'm still taking quarterbacks at 101 and 102. And I think what is really exciting is, when does Herbert slide into those top 5 running backs?
What's up, John Bosch? How are you?
I am doing just fine, guys. How are you doing?
Awesome. I mean, this has been a great draft, hasn't it? I mean, it's hard not to be excited.
It has been fun. I mean, I'm pretty excited for my rookie auctions and rookie drafts. I can't wait to see where all this goes. I'm ready to do a mock with you guys tonight. I set up my top 24, so I'm ready to blaze through.
Nice. Awesome. What are some John Bosch hot takes from this draft, the first 2 days? Do you have anything that you want to throw out there that you think people will disagree with you on?
Oh, I don't ever have hot takes. Somebody might disagree. I don't think so. Honestly, I think this draft has led it to be somewhat straightforward at the beginning. The biggest thing that I've had some people tell me that they won't do that I'll do is I'll take Herbert at 103. I'm not ready to go running back right there in a super flex. I will take my top 3 in a super flex or quarterback. And that's pretty easy for me. And then I want nothing to do. Absolutely zero. Will not take Love, will not take Hurts in anywhere in the second round. And I think that's where they will probably go. So I will end up having 0 of those guys.
I'm fascinated to see what happens with Hurts because that Philadelphia landing spot is interesting and probably not in a good way. So
I'm not putting 2 years into a guy who's not going to have his value. He has 0 chance for his value to increase. The only thing that can happen is his value goes down unless there's an injury. That's not an investment that I'm banking on an injury. That's just crazy.
Yeah, especially not in this class too, because when you're gonna have to make a decision, there's gonna be some really intriguing players still on the board for you to.
Plenty of running backs and wide receivers that can rise in value.
So you want to? You threw that idea of starting a mock here.
I have it randomized if you guys want.
Anybody else jumping in, or is it us 4 through?
It's a pretty small drafter party tonight, John.
No, that works for me.
Yeah, I as you know, other people have been invited to jump on, but I don't know who else is going to jump on. It's midnight. Later, so yeah, it's midnight, so probably not too many. But that's fine. Let's do this. Let's start.
It looks like Peter might be hopping on.
Yeah, I think he said he was coming over after.
He just said still going, so I told him yep.
All right. Hold on, I got to re-randomize it now. Kane, you had the 101, but that's gone.
That's all right. You knew who it was going to be. We literally talked about this 3 minutes ago.
John, we're just having a little bit of discussion of the top running backs versus quarterbacks in the rookie draft. But it's all right.
I assume we're doing super flex, right?
Of course we are.
No, only one quarterback, John.
Yeah.
One quarterback. I'm out of here.
One quarterback, all flex. 2 tight ends though.
Oh, hard pass.
I wish
there's no tight ends of interest to me yet.
Double kicker.
Yeah.
You're banned.
All right. Is Ryan, you confirming Peter right now? You got him on the
I don't see him
on your second home line?
I don't think he's connected. So if we're waiting for him, we'll kill a couple of minutes. So I wish we could mock an auction because It's always auctions are always fascinating, and rookie auctions. There's Peter, are always interesting, and it's going to be fun to jump in those auctions, John, and see how people perceive these guys.
There's no way to mock an auction. It wouldn't help you anyways.
No, I wouldn't.
You can. It would take forever because I'm waiting till the end of that clock.
I'm doing. So I'm running 10 leagues right now. And somebody asked this question on Twitter the other day about auctions, and I said I'm literally running 10 of these same exact leagues, same setup. These all basically started within probably the last 3 or 4 weeks. The results are all over the board. I mean, the prices for the same player in all 10 auctions different, and in some auctions different by a lot. So you can't compare auctions from one to the other. There's just everyone's its own thing, which is what makes it so much fun.
Yeah, indeed it is. It just depends who you're playing with, how people value guys. It's so much fun. Hey, Peter Howard, how you doing?
Pretty good, bud. Yourself?
Good. You're looking good, Peter.
He grew that
Start off with a lie.
No, I mean you look good, man. I like it. I like the hair. Since I last saw you, looking good, man.
You look like a rundown version of Ryan Reynolds.
I wish you'd shave again.
Thank you.
Take that beard off.
Honestly, a rundown version of Ryan Reynolds
It's still really good.
Yeah, I take that any day. If somebody said that,
take that.
I would be like, oh, pants are off again. How did that happen?
I haven't worn pants in weeks. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I'm at home. No need for pants.
But you moved out of the
yeah,
you moved out of the basement.
No, still basement, different room. This is actually the office instead of the storage room that I've been resigned to before now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Congratulations on the upgrade.
Happy for you.
Yeah. Well, I can only use it when my wife's not looking. That's basically the rule. So, which Las Vegas wide receiver are you drafting above Henry Ruggs? That's really what I want to know. Extra points for all of them.
Tyler Johnson, I assume he'll be on their team by the end of the year.
Pretty soon, right? Yeah.
Do not trigger
Any
me,
day
John
now.
Bosch.
Any day now. So what's new? What's been going on over here? I just left the Dynasty Dummies or the DFPN network chat, which I think those are remarkably similar Kentuckian over in that chat as well.
Yeah, crazy how that works.
Very similar.
Kane was in there.
Strange.
My commute over here was a lot faster, so.
Right.
Zoom helps with commutes, that's for sure. No, we just didn't react to this draft. We're about to do a mock. Yeah, it's been crazy. I'm pretty exhausted, man, because the first night was exhilarating. I have to say that I was pretty shocked when Clyde Edwards-Helaire went to Kansas City. I just didn't see that coming. I mean, I just didn't think they would take a running back there, and it's really changed the thought process, I think, for a lot of people. So that was just a fun way to end the night. So I couldn't sleep, and here we are. So all these skill position players gone off the board these first 2 days. It's wild. So let's see how we value these guys. And I guess I have the number 1 pick. Well,
so I posted in the chat. I went through 25. We have 5 people. We can do 25 picks. That's fine.
That works.
Yeah, whatever. So, it's interesting talking, it's kind of since the Superflex, I think I might want to trade out of the 101 because I don't know that I want to take Joe Burrow. I think I'd rather have one of these running backs. I'd rather trade back, but I think Joe Burrow is probably the most valuable guy. So I'll take Joe Burrow here at the 101.
Goodness. Okay.
Oh, and I see you gave me the 3rd pick, which is fun because
so I just put it into a Google sheet and then
Perfect.
randomized the order.
Oh,
I didn't give
it's
anybody
perfect.
anything.
I'm glad to have the 3rd.
It's super flex, right?
So wait,
It's
quickly.
Superflex, yes.
I know we're live, but do you want? Okay, yeah, just post your pick, I guess. Otherwise, I can continually copy and paste the sheet.
Let's
So
post our
we'll do it
picks.
that
It's
way.
fine. This
All right.
works.
All
It's
right.
Who you got, Peter? I assume
Tua.
does anybody have anybody other than Burrow with the 101 and Superflex?
Probably not.
We just talked about it.
Okay.
I think I'm going running back.
Oh my goodness. You're giving up value.
Get him.
You're giving up
Every
value,
just
man.
gotta have a sucker.
Yep. I would love you if I'm sitting there at 102 and you take a running back in front of me.
Well, I mean, I just would try to trade it as hard as I could, and then not try to projecting quarterbacks is an exercise in frustration.
And I think it depends on your league.
Quarterback. I said quarterbacks, right? Quarterbacks. Yeah. Projecting quarterbacks is so hard.
And I think it depends on your league and how you've built your team too. I mean, a lot of my teams, I'm pretty loaded at quarterback, so I'm going to try to trade out. Sorry, Peter, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's fine. I was going to say it might be hard to project rookie quarterbacks. You know how easy it is to project rookie quarterback value? You just do this.
I mean, Josh,
that's
like
it. Every time
Dwayne Haskins didn't improve in value.
87% of quarterbacks increase in value year 2 and year 3. 87%. That's the highest rate of surefire value increase you'll find anywhere you want to measure a value increase. Like running backs don't do it, wide receivers don't do it. You can't get a surefire thing. So yeah, I'm Tua, by the way, too.
so
I'll put it in there for you, Peter.
So I'll just go ahead and piggyback on that because I think quarterbacks are easily the ones that value retains and goes up so fast in the Superflex. So I'm going to take Justin Herbert at 103. That's pretty easy smash pick for me.
Okay.
And then we have a tier break because there's no quarterbacks.
I'm gonna
stick hope you weren't riding the idea of grabbing a rookie quarterback in your second season because they're gone.
I'm gonna add the H in there. I don't know if that. No, it doesn't feel right. Jonathan Taylor at the 104.
All right. Yeah, this is where we might actually. Well, 103. I think we have some debate there too. Does everyone agree with that? Herbert there because
now that they're taking quarterbacks or running backs at 101.
I mean, I know the increase in value. They can increase in value, but I think you could have a much more massive jump in value with a running back from their rookie year to their second year than just a slight increase in value from their rookie to sophomore year.
Okay, if you want to do that, it's not Jonathan Taylor. If you want to bet on the big jump, it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
All right, hold on. We got to add Ethan in here.
We got Ethan Turner joining us. What's up, Ethan?
How's it going, guys?
Good. We're excited. We're excited about this draft. The first couple of days were super exciting, and we're debating here on these picks in a super flex mock draft, which we're going to throw you in. So quarterbacks have flown off the board. Burrow,
I heard that.
Herbert, yeah,
I heard that. That's a little surprising to me. Not the first two, but Herbert at 3. I think there's a little bit more debate there, but I don't think you can
Ethan,
go wrong
from
a value perspective. What'd you say? The 106? Perfect.
Yeah,
that's where I love to be.
All right. Finish that thought though about Herbert, because John, I see your argument for him. I mean, he is a quarterback that was taken at number 6 overall. I think it's a good situation there in Los Angeles. I mean, I think he's interesting. I think he's got some tools that indicate he could be a real stud. So, I mean, I don't hate the pick. But man, it would be tempting for me if I can't trade out to go with one of those running backs.
That's why I said it was fun that I got the 103 because I think a lot of people will want to go to the running back, and I will take their quarterback just quite easily. I'm not gambling on a rookie running back right now. The quarterback is locked in. He's not going to decrease in value. He's better than Dwayne Haskins.
Prove it.
Okay, I'll let you know. I'll let you know next year. Peter, can you provide some proof of the past of those? Can you go over those value rates again?
Sure, 87.
Okay, thanks.
Quarterbacks increase or stay the same at value.
All right, appreciate that. Thanks.
Also, there's been one quarterback drafted in the first 12 picks of rookie draft since 2003. That was Kyler Murray, who hit. So, like, we're pretty good at that. That's something I just recently ran based on DLF ADP. Since everyone went quiet, I'll just keep talking. Like, it's not like I don't want the running back. But if I'm talking about drafting to an unknown team in an unknown situation and just drafting right, I mean, it's got to be quarterback and Superflex.
Yeah, I think it's.
And if you want to face me with no quarterbacks and all your running backs, that's fine. But I think I'll win week over week until you trade me way too much for one of my quarterbacks to follow the John Bush role that he taught me.
I mean, I think you make a good point of just right now. It's just a draft on pure value. We don't have teams. We're not even speculating on team needs. So is there any situation? I mean, let's say I'm on the Superflex Super Show, and we love to, or I guess I should say, John Hogue loves to talk about taking just an exorbitant amount of, you just load up on quarterbacks in startup drafts where you're going to have 3, 4, maybe 5 guys that could all potentially start for you. Would those guys be looking at running back, or do you think, no, you go quarterback and then you just basically trade them for a haul every time?
Quarterback.
Yeah, the idea behind that philosophy is that you keep doing it until people stop you doing it, which means they overpay or they pay you. And it's just, it makes sense. And the thing about it, even on a blind team, right? How many starting quarterbacks did we lose last year? There's got to at least be 2 or 3 teams in every league that's down to 1, maybe 2 starting quarterbacks. In a Superflex league, you're already at a disadvantage. And so any extra quarterbacks coming into the league, it's hard to see how the top 3 shouldn't or won't be the quarterbacks who would draft first round, despite Lamar Jackson and Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, let's not talk about Trubisky.
Josh Rosen, do you want to keep going down the list?
Mitch Trubisky's actually not been super terrible his entire career.
He also went up from year 1 to year 2, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
He increased in value, so
He's part of that 86%.
Yeah.
87%, and that's the point. You had to pay me more the second year than the first year, and it worked out for you worse in the third year. So I'm going to have him, and I'm going to get more from him. That's what I'm saying.
So even with not being great, he still got me more value.
Because eventually people realize they need the quarterbacks.
All right. So I went forward with Jonathan Taylor. Great pick, Will. Thank you, everybody.
I like the pick.
It's the wrong running back, but that's okay. So
it could have been a wide receiver, and then I would have had to judge you. But as long as it's
that's fine with you.
As long as it goes with quarterback or running back for like the first, I don't know,
8 picks,
8 picks minimum, I'm good with it.
Which puts Kane at the 105.
So normally I would trade this pick to Peter
for Tyler Johnson.
You can get Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
All right.
So that's what I would normally do. So I know that Peter will trade with me after the show, so I'm just gonna take Clyde Edwards-Helaire, even though he's not my running back 2.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade with you, by the way. I'm just saying that's the way it should be in value.
No, you're.
I'll manage.
It just has to reasonably be.
You will trade with me, Peter. That's the point.
You can try.
He'll give you Gardner Minshew for the 105 because he's.
I would not.
Again.
I would love that. That'd be perfect value for me.
Give
me the quarterback.
Yeah.
All right, so
it's a lot of tension, right?
There's a lot of tension.
Sorry.
I thought we were supposed to have fun.
I'm going to trade a running back to a guy that just proved he values quarterback more for a quarter. Like, I'm not going to give you a quarterback. Hey, all right. Or I've lost track of what you said.
I was like, are you even freaking listening, dude?
I would take Clyde over Minshew. I'll take Clyde in that trade.
So, Ethan, you are on the clock. We have Burrow, Tua, Herbert, Jonathan Taylor.
Over Minshew?
EH.
Yeah.
Not sure about that.
Hey, well, can I ask a question before Ethan picks? Who all has Edwards-Helaire as their number 1 running back? I'm curious. Show of hands.
Hi.
John.
Yeah, he's my number.
Couple people. Back. So it looks like there's not going to be consensus then. I think is like it'll be interesting to see where because I was talking about this earlier, guys, where really the top 5 running backs. I have my favorites, but it's not. There's not anyone that really breaks away big time for me. I like all those guys.
I think there's 2 tiers. I think Edwards-Helaire's for me is number 1 and Taylor's number 2, and then I think there's a little tier break between the next one.
Okay.
Not a huge tier break, but I mean, those 2 are my easy top 2.
Ethan, what about you here? You're going to get a chance to pick. We're probably going to learn who your favorite running back is, or
I mean,
left.
running backs, Jonathan Taylor, and then I have Clyde Edwards-Helaire at 2 now. That is not how it was. I had all these guys pretty close going into the draft, but obviously you have to adjust. If you don't adjust, you're take locking and you're an idiot. You know, I'm gonna go kind of I'm still debating 2 guys right now, but I'm gonna go with the guy that I'm more confident will have volume, and I'm going to go with Cam Akers. I think Cam Akers has less competition. Darrell Henderson was a fine pick last year, but if he can't outplay Malcolm Brown, I definitely know he can't outplay Cam Akers. I think the Rams are going to use, you know, they still have a pretty good offensive line. They still like to feed their running backs because they're definitely not going to trust Jared Goff to throw ever again. So I'm going to go with Cam Akers here, but I know that the 2 guys that I have, the guy that I'm sure is going to go in the next 2 picks, I have right next to Cam Akers, but kind of bummed that I couldn't. This would be one where I would probably try to trade back 1 pick or 2 picks from here because I'm pretty content with any of the next probably 3 guys that are going to go here.
Would you try and trade up to the one? Do you find a separation between the first 2?
If Jonathan Taylor falls to 4, I'm making a pretty aggressive attempt to go up. Even at, you know, if I'm sitting at 6, I don't think it's a massive jump to move from 6 to, you know, even 3 if Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you know, you say Burrow and Taylor go 1, 2, then 3, I'm probably making, you know, a pretty good substantial offer to try to get to 3 for one of those top 2 guys. But I'm also pretty content sitting at 6 and just taking the guy that I, you know, like the most. And I'll be honest, I still have not had a chance to really digest. I've been on live streams for all of the first 3 rounds. Just so you guys know that, like, that's a terrible idea. I don't know why people keep doing this to me where they just want to do live streams for like the whole draft. Like there's no fun in that. I'd much rather just come onto one show at the end. And then get to actually like digest the picks like that have already happened and like think about them and enjoy the draft instead of just like sitting and talking in front of a camera. Like I'm sorry. It's just, too many shows are going to this, like, I want to do a live stream, like through the whole draft. And it's just like, this is dumb. The last one I jumped off of, we were talking literally to ourselves. And I was like, why are we doing this? Like, freaking shut this thing off. It's the 3rd round. Nobody cares. But anyway, yes, I digress. I'm going to go with Cam Akers here, probably a little contrarian.
I do feel like the NFL draft has been stretching out everything this year, especially because they know they got you. Like, there's
what
no
else is Sports Center going to show?
Well, they have us anyway, but they have all of America as well. Even people that don't care about football. I guess I'm on the clock here. I'm really struggling with this because I'm trying to decide between Dobbins and Swift, and I'm trying not to get too influenced by Dobbins' landing spot, and the fact he's going to a better team at the end of the day. Like when you look at productive running backs, usually they're attached to good teams and good offenses, and we know that he's attached to one. So. But Swift, was my number 1 guy coming into this draft. So I'm just talking about my thought process here, gentlemen. Installing a little bit.
Great filibuster.
I'm gonna go
Speaking of things dragging out. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I changed my mind because I was thinking otherwise. But our conversation earlier, I'm gonna go with Swift. I mean, he's my number 1 guy coming into it. I think the people are gonna poo-poo the Detroit Lions situation, but I think he's in a good spot. And as we talked about earlier, you know, he's going to be their guy. So I'll go Swift.
Love it.
I would have done the same, and I'm really happy with you picked that because I think if you'd have gone the other way, I don't think I would have gotten the running back following to me. But now I think I have a chance for the other running back to fall to me because Peter's up.
You're welcome, John.
I am.
You are.
Peter at the 108. So we have Burrow, Tua, Herbert, Taylor, Helaire, Akers, Swift. 3 quarterbacks, 4 running backs, and 1 Peter ready to go.
So Taylor, Akers, and Swift are the running backs that have been taken.
And
Hilaire's gone too.
Yeah.
Taylor, Hilaire, Acre, Swift.
Do it. Do it, Peter.
Yeah, right. I'm trying to remember the running back that might creep over them, but I think they're all gone after those 4, to be honest with you. So yeah,
Dobbins for the Ravens.
Yeah, I've got them all.
Zach Moss.
No, I was just trying to think if there's anyone that went over them. They don't.
Keyshawn Vaughn.
Really take a wide receiver over those top 4 running backs. Since Superflex after the quarter.
So glad you took Swift, Ryan.
Yeah, right.
I knew that was getting me Dobbins. But if you'd have taken Dobbins, he was taking Swift.
There's a crunch at the top of the wide receiver ranks for me as well. A little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna go CD Lamb still.
All right.
Love it.
All right.
Yeah, I don't hate the pick. I know we're talking about running backs, and I probably wouldn't have done that, but man, CD Lamb is one of those guys that people may pass up on to take a running back, and they may regret it. I mean, he's so good.
I'm getting CD Lamb at 108. That is, I mean, he's my wide receiver 1 right now in this class. That's a hell of a get.
So John,
I feel like I know what Jerry Jones feels like right now.
You do not. You are not sitting on a yacht having somebody hold your phone for you while you talk.
Yeah,
what a flex!
Fair, but
what a fucking flex, though.
CD Lamb fell to him at 116. He falls to me at 108. We're basically the same guy at this point.
He just laughed at the Raiders, right? I mean,
yeah, he did.
He had to have laughed as hard as we all did when the Raiders made that pick.
That's such a Raider move.
Yeah, it's perfect Raiders.
Oh yeah, Al Davis. That's a tribute pick.
Yeah,
speed kills, baby.
That's an expensive tribute. Well, I'll take the running back. I'll take J.K. Dobbins. I like that landing spot with the Ravens. I think Mark Ingram might be fine for this year. Dobbins is the future in that offense. And that's an offense I'm liking more and more and more, especially for the running back. So definitely taking J.K. Dobbins here with the 109.
Yeah, I would do.
Man, also just amazing value.
That's just highway robbery. I think. I'm sorry. I love Ram. I love Ram. I love Lamb. I love Ram too. I love Lamb too. But I just don't feel like. I mean, maybe Peter has some crazy stat that I don't know about. But I just don't see how he is going to produce immediately for you. And I do think Dobbins could produce immediately for you. So, Peter, do you mind? I know we're going backwards here, but I would just want to. Everything I've seen is that this is not a great landing spot for Lamb for fantasy. So, do you have some knowledge to drop on me here? I just don't understand this pick.
Do you have some knowledge to drop on me about how you know what's a good and a bad landing spot? What was the best wide receiver last year?
Oh,
guys?
snap.
I mean, no, I'm saying
best wide receiver from last year's draft class. And what did we think of his landing spot?
JJ Arcega-Whiteside.
Yeah, I think it's a convoluted situation. I think it's
Brown,
more negative for Gallup than it is negative for anyone else. Yeah. Sorry, I think I got a delay going on here. Gonna wait a second here. Yeah, I think it's more negative for Gallup than it is Lamb. Even with the Amari Cooper on there, I think CeeDee Lamb's still clearly the best wide receiver, and I try to underrate our understanding of what landing spot's gonna be because we're consistently bad at it, just overall. And you know, it's the right kind of offense, the right kind of quarterback. There's plenty of stuff we could value there. And he went in the first round, so I really can't drag him down because of draft capital, and I underrate our ability to understand how a landing spot's going to work out. As far as immediate production goes, I don't always draft just for immediate production. Again, we're going to a blind team here. Dobbins there is a really good pick. It's who I'd take if I wasn't taking a wide receiver. But, you know, running backs fail too. Wide receiver value is more sustainable. So it's less about immediate impact on my fantasy team than value and also what I expect from CeeDee Lamb. based on his college profile. I think he's going to be a good wide receiver. So it's not just going to be good value, it's going to increase over his career as well.
I dig that.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah, I think it was fair to question, Ethan. I think that's a good.
I was just curious. I mean, I was just curious. I mean, like, because I just know that from what I've seen, people have kind of, basically shot it down as a bad landing spot. And I know that I trust what Peter says there about, I know that his process is well founded in the data. So I wanted to know kind of how that played out.
I don't know how well founded I am on anything. What I would say is I'm not people. No. By that I mean especially at wide receiver. Especially at wide receiver, never listen to the crowd. Yeah. Especially at wide receiver. We get it wrong more often, especially who are the first 3 picks, especially when to take them. I'm still reeling from taking like running backs over DJ Moore. And that was solid process too. I try not to get caught in that situation too often. And CD Lamb, like there's nothing there that I can say we can reliably predict, which really drags him down. So CD Lamb's there. Jalen Rager's, I'm trying to wait for things to digest first. I already had Rager at 2, so it's not like he can increase. He got arguably a better landing spot than Lamb, but like I say, those are hard to judge. And realistically, CD Lamb is much more likely to produce than Rager, but I think Rager still has a much better ceiling. So it's a difficult balance to strike.
That takes us to Will at the 110. And Will, what are you gonna do here?
I'm going AJ Dillon. Give me the other second round running back going to the Packers.
Really?
Silence bomb.
Really?
Yes, really.
Okay.
All right.
What do you think? What do you think of the pick, John?
Size, speed, specimen going to a good offense. I mean, let me get some immediate production, and then move on from that when that happens.
Okay.
All right, I can cross him off.
Yep.
I had to scroll down the sheet to get to him, but I can cross him off. I mean, do you think he's gonna? You say you're gonna get immediate production. You think he's going to produce this year ahead of Aaron Jones?
Aaron Jones isn't scoring
Jamal Williams
double digits touchdowns this year.
I definitely mean he could get double digits, but maybe not double digit rushing. I don't think double digits is out of the question, but he's definitely not going to get what he got last year. But
but he's not like dead.
Do you think AJ Dillon's going to come in and take all of them?
I think he passed. I mean, I think that. So we're coming into this season, and this season is an outlier of an offseason and everything like that. I think it's going to be much easier for a running back to adapt to an offensive system, and I'm willing to risk that I will lose value on Dillon versus how the wide receiver will adapt to an offense and their value goes down versus a running back, especially with that's not a super settled backfield as it like last year. We look at the split of like carries and usage between Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones. And now they take here Dillon in the second round before they take anybody else. They're obviously high on him.
I
think it integrate very quickly into that team.
They also took Love. Like they're prepping for 2023 or something like that.
That's fine, but I'm willing to risk that jumps a lot higher than where I believe the other positions can go.
So in an off season where you think that the running back will be able to pick it up faster because there's likely not going to be an off season, do you think he's going to be able to pick it up fast enough to then outperform the 2 guys that are ahead of him and have been there in the system already?
Yeah, I think he's better than them.
Okay.
And I will say, in Will's defense, if you look at the like the work that Jordan McNamara did, like center season hit rates by draft round, yes, wide receivers that go in the first round hit a little bit higher than those second round running backs, but the second round running backs are not that far behind. So there's some data to back up the pick. And Will's taking his guy, man. That's what we talk about. Take your guy that you love.
That it's less likely.
I'll have to remember this.
Peter, you got some data to that goes again. I'm sure there's data that the data actually says that you should take a first round receiver over a second round running back, but
not entirely sure. I can pull up my hit rates if you want, but I meant the data you just quoted. Like you said that they're less likely, so that means that they're less likely.
True.
That's
it's close. It's pretty close though. I mean, we're talking 7%. So
running backs drafted in the second round, about 29% of the time they get a top 12 season. Wide receivers drafted in the first round, I divide it by breakout age, but if they have a age 19 breakout age drafted in the first round, they have a 61% chance of getting a top 12 season. So it's like twice if they're a good wide receiver.
All right,
depends how you calculate hit rate though. So.
Okay, excellent.
Good stuff. Made my note to run up Will in the Welcome Everything is Fine League on AJ.
I don't have any money in that league. So it's fine.
You don't have any draft picks or salary cap room?
Well, I have the 102, but I think I'm pretty safe there with who I can take.
Dylan's a really talented runner.
Could definitely take AJ Dillon at the 102, I bet.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
He should be there.
Probably.
Yeah, Peter, you're in that one too. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
You could definitely get AJ Dillon.
That's right.
Well, I already have Tyler Johnson's in that one, so yeah.
I already have Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
And Travis Etienne. Great Debbie pick.
I got Tua and the 111 Kane that you just took off the board.
Yeah, so my 111 is Jerry Jeudy. Or as I call him, Gerald Jeudy. He's my wide receiver too. I think the landing spot is still good for him. He's going to get opportunity, and that's what I want. I have him over the rest of the round one wide receivers. So I'm just going to trust my process and hope that it works out for me with Jeudy here.
Like the spirit there, bud.
Well, you can always go to my Twitter and see why I don't like Rager. So
a lot less silence though after the AJ Dillon pick.
He's my wide receiver too. Also, I agree with you. But it is a tier of.
I think it's a fair toss up.
I've got one more in that tier.
So. I only had in my top tier. It's just Lamb and Jeudy in my tier one. So if that's how I have it broken out by tier, I'm always going to take my tier one guy versus going down to a tier two guy, if that's what I believe.
Yep, I like
Jeudy
that.
At around 4, but I don't mind it at all. Like he can end the mixers, so.
All right, so the consensus is we like the pick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Must feel nice.
No, I just made a good pick.
Hey man, we love your pick, man. We love your pick. That's I'm a big fan of you taking AJ Dillon.
Well, you just stuck there. You can't trade out of it. I'm throwing a dart of upside. Wait a minute. We'll move on. We need to move on.
Honestly,
I enjoy your spirit too.
I think he ends up towards maybe the, let's say like 2-0. Let's say 6, 7.
206 is his ADP right now in Superflex on DLF.
Okay, I actually don't think it's gonna jump. Even with the draft stock. Not to go back to AJ Dillon, but
that's why we do this exercise though, to kind of see where we like these guys. And AJ Dillon has his fans, John. I mean,
I know he
like,
does.
we like him.
That's
we both
me.
like him, man.
I am the AJ Dillon fan.
I am a draft stock, and I am a big time draft stock. Like I operate by, hey, the NFL is, they tell us these guys that they like and they don't like. They make it real clear to us, so we don't need to try and outthink them. Right. They tell us. But man, the Packers, I think they were drunk.
So the running back that was taken 3 rounds earlier than Aaron Jones doesn't have value. And you guys can, like, as far as we don't know each other super well, but like you could dog on me all you want. It's this is a safe space.
I know.
Whatever you want to say. Like this is
that. Once a guy gets on the field, I throw the draft stock out the window. At that.
And again,
like it's what are they already doing on the field and giving to their team?
I also have my conspiracy theory that Aaron Jones is in more trouble.
He might be. Maybe he is. Is his contract?
That's a real far reach.
Contract status and stuff. I don't know what his contract status is.
Or just last year's contracts.
Yeah.
He's in the final year. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably something to consider then.
Yeah.
So we're on to Ethan at the 112.
Yeah, well, now I'm like scared to say anything because Peter said that I'm not allowed to say anything about landing spots, and now I feel all self-conscious about it. But I do like this. I do like this guy's landing spot and his opportunity, but we can't predict opportunity. So now I'm like trying to find a good argument for him.
Oh no. Just say the name. Peter loves this guy. Actually,
I'm gonna go with Jalen Rager here. It's close for me between Rager and Ruggs. I think Ruggs obviously has the speed to be super elite, but I just don't trust him. I don't trust John Gruden just for anything that he does. So I do like Jalen Rager. He was, he was right after basically Lamb and Judy for me in my pre-draft rankings. And I think he's landed in a pretty good spot, even though we can't predict if that's a good spot or not. But I mean, I don't see anyone there that I think could compete with him for targets. I think they're going to use him all over the place. And I think for fantasy, you're going to enjoy that. So I'm going to go Rager.
Okay, excellent. Rager is seems like he's a big fan of everybody, with one exception.
Well, I know he's a big fan of me.
Do you want me to talk about why I don't think he should be the pick here? Because I will.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So if we're just looking at his tape, one thing that Rager doesn't do well is get off of press man coverage. And so now he's going to a team where he's going to be the wide receiver one, where he's going to see more of that top corner press man coverage. That scares me. The addition that he's going to need some manufactured touches to be able to get some fantasy value this year, that also scares me. I know when we're taking wide receivers, we're looking at this, right? We're looking at the long term. We're not looking for immediate production, but at some point we're going to need this production, or else it's not a worthwhile pick. So that's I would have preferred that he went to a team that had a top wide receiver and he could have been the wide receiver too, and I would have had no qualms with you taking him here. But the fact that he's going up against, top coverage that he's already shown in college that he can't beat with terrible quarterbacks in the Big 12, that scares me.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff in there that wasn't exactly right, but okay.
Well, let's talk about it.
All right. How did he not?
You're breaking up. I can't hear you.
Beat it. I mean, he must. Sorry, my internet's bad. I guess. Annoying. He must have been able to do enough to be the market share leader, the yards leader, the wide receiver one, at the age of 18 and 19.
Right, but also at the same time, he didn't see much press man coverage in the Big 12 because that's not something that they predominantly do.
Okay, so you haven't seen him do a lot of it. Like, I don't know
how
well I can rate that. I know that in his
small
situation,
sample size, but from what I've seen of him in press man coverage, he doesn't beat it well, and he's going to see a whole lot more of it in the NFL.
I maybe. And you don't know if he can't beat it. I don't know how to value something you can literally say you don't know if he's good at it or not. What I do know he's good at is everything that most wide receivers who turn out to be good in the NFL are good at.
Okay.
I got nothing else playing. I don't know how to speed it up.
No, I get what you're saying. I'm just not buying it. There's just some other guys that I'd rather have at this spot.
I mean, I think this is, like I said, I think there's multiple picks here that are fine picks. I'm going to go Rager because I trust that Peterson will be able to basically work around the deficiencies if they exist, that he might have more than I trust John Gruden to be able to use a guy like Ruggs efficiently to his potential. I mean, I get the argument. There are definitely, he's not a perfect prospect, but I just feel like for this, at this point in the draft, you're not looking, none of these guys are going to be perfect prospects, but I still feel like we're 12 deep and still talking about, still arguing between guys. That shows how deep this class really is. And I think we're kind of, I don't know, to me, it seems like we're splitting hairs a little bit here. if you like Ruggs better, or if you like another wide receiver better than this, like, I think that's fine. Like, I think you're going to see that in actual drafts too.
Yeah. He's no AJ Dillon. So Ryan, with the 1.13 or the first pick in the second round of our Superflex mock draft, we filibustered enough for you. I know.
Yeah, you did. I'm ready.
So let's lock it in.
Appreciate that, guys. Thank you. I'm going to go Justin Jefferson here. And, I thought about Ruggs just because where he was taken. I just don't trust his profile. I mean, he wasn't even the number one wide receiver on his college football team, right? But I do think one of the things I thought about with him is I think he has a pretty tremendous ceiling. So part of me wanted to take him, but I really like Justin Jefferson going into this process. I just think he is such a solid player. And Adam Thielen, looking at his contract, there's a 2021 out. So I think he could be the replacement in Minnesota for Adam Thielen.
He's not an Adam Thielen replacement, but yeah, I really do like Jefferson. He went a little lower than I would have thought.
Yeah. So, even if he doesn't replace Thielen, there's room for him there. And I like Jefferson here. So I feel good about getting him here either at the 113 or the 201, whatever we're calling this.
Let's go 13th pick.
I also had him above Ruggs.
Yeah. I think though, a couple of guys, I'm just speculating. I'm curious if you guys feel the same way in your leagues, in your Superflex leagues. I think Ruggs will probably go higher than he's going to go in this draft. And I also think that Keyshawn Vaughn is still out there. I think people will like that Tampa Bay landing spot and go for Keyshawn Vaughn at this point. Do you guys think that we'll see that, or it just depends on how it's going to play out?
I have Ruggs and Jefferson in a tier right here together before you get down to I get a couple of receivers before I get to running backs again.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
in a league where someone's taking AJ Dillon over those wide receivers, yeah, sure.
No, I mean Ruggs is going to get picked. Ross got picked very early. Not very early, but he got picked early enough in rookie draft.
Ninth.
Too early. I picked him in a couple places, unfortunately.
Okay. But also we need to talk about that. Ross actually had a much better last year in college than Ruggs ever did.
You measure good and bad weird, or very differently than I do. I would say Ruggs has the potential to be what John Ross,
because there's no way Peter's taking him.
People thought John Ross could be, because he's frankly better sized with similar speed, which is impressive, and he was more of a playmaker in college. It shows up more in his touchdowns than his yards and receptions, but and that's why I tend to not like him. But I mean, we never saw that from John Ross really in college. He was underproductive, and people liked him because of his special teams and auxiliary role. Whereas what I find is if you just have that alone isn't enough. You also have to be productive as a regular wide receiver, which John Ross wasn't. And Henry Ruggs was less productive than John Ross, but at least he was epically more valuable to the team in terms of scoring points than John Ross was on his team, even though he was a wide receiver 1 and Ruggs was a 3.
But also John Ross had 1,100 yards and 17 touchdowns.
Yeah,
receiving touchdowns.
Yeah, we measured good different, which is fine. Man, fuck, I get a lot of the shit wrong, but like raw counting stats, I could barely quote them to you. Like I don't think the raw number of yards is more important than how valuable he was in that role, and how much of it he was able to eke out from himself from the other players on the depth chart. I think that's what signals a higher talent level, whatever talent may be.
Which also brings us to the 14th pick, Peter.
Yo. Oh, is that me again?
Yeah, your OT.
Take Ruggs.
I've got my eye set in that Raiders wide receiver 1, not Ruggs.
Brian Edwards.
Oh,
Hamler. You're gonna do it. You're totally gonna do Hamler.
No, I'm gonna take someone. I'll take Denzel Mims around here right now. I thought about going back to running back, but I still like Mims.
So right. Denzel Mims, Rashard Perriman 2.0.
No, he's not. I love Mims. The Jets, I think, got a really good draft, guys, or they have so far. Yeah. No, Mims is a good pick. I like it.
All right.
All right. Well, I mean, I will take I will take Ruggs here. I would not take him earlier, but at this point, I will take him because of the draft stock. I'm quite fine with that. In the second round of a rookie draft, that's where I feel plenty comfortable taking a Henry Ruggs. If he hits, that feels great, and if he doesn't, I don't feel like I over invested in him.
Yeah, that seems fair.
Well, we should probably pick up the pace because it's almost 1 a.m. Eastern time for our guests on the East Coast.
Okay.
No, I'm just throwing it out there.
Oh man, I don't like this pick at all.
All getting salty.
You don't like Ruggs here?
No, I don't like this draft spot.
Oh, gotcha. I was gonna say, how far should he fall?
No,
I think you have to switch back to running back. That's my best.
Ruggs. Yeah, and I think I'm just gonna go.
Nobody's worried about Mims going to the Jets and being, a Jet.
Well, no, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna
Okay,
go.
just wanted to make sure.
I'm gonna go Keyshawn Vaughn here. Ugh.
Yeah, that's what I do.
I only did it because I wanted Peter's approval finally. So it's very important. That
It's
everybody
hard
knows
to
that.
find.
Coincidentally, I have Keyshawn Vaughn one spot ahead of AJ Dillon in my quick little 24 person, 24 player super flex.
And I think it's totally fine. I was trying to search for because I really don't like Ayuk. That's the hard part is I want to take the other first round wide receiver, but I just don't. I really don't want to, so I'm not going to.
Understandable. I don't have him as my next wide receiver either, so I kind of agree with you there.
So anyway, I guess Keyshawn Vaughn, Will's soft pick, and so that moves us on to the 17th overall pick with Kane.
So I'm going to take my only tier 2 wide receiver left, and that's T. Higgins.
All right.
I was just wondering if people were forgetting about him.
I was thinking, so I was deciding between Higgins and Vaughn, and I was like, I don't know. I'm just gonna go running back over.
I'm a big fan of T. Higgins.
Yeah, Higgins was right after Ruggs for me.
You would be.
Actually, based on what is good in my definition, since that's very important. I'm kidding. So Ethan, you're on with the 18th pick overall.
Yeah, I don't really like any of the players here particularly. I mean, I like the players, but I don't like the landing spot. Nobody took Ayuk, right? Nobody took Ayuk.
No one's gonna know if you want to make your next pick too. I mean, you're good.
I won't.
No, he will not make him to make it.
I don't see how.
Okay, sorry.
I mean, I would say this is where I would start considering the fact that opportunity is baked in slightly with draft capital, and he was a first round pick, so I don't see how they wouldn't partially use
up for him.
So I mean, obviously they like the guy. Michael Pittman's kind of in that same boat. I mean, I like him as a big body wide receiver for Indy outside of, they got two kind of shorter, speedier guys. But I don't love him from an injury perspective. I don't know if he's going to stay healthy. Same thing with Laviska Shenault, who's another guy. I'm just going to go with Ayuk here just because I think he's the safest option of these dudes to get one opportunity to be successful. And I think he does fit a role in that offense that doesn't really have anything outside of Kittle and Deebo Samuel. So I think they need another wide receiver that can score points for him. If Kendrick Bourne can score 5 touchdowns, Ayuk can definitely outproduce that. I have Kendrick Bourne on a few dynasty squads, so I won't totally bash him there, but I'm going to go with Ayuk here.
All right. So quick recap. Burrow, Tua, Herbert, Jonathan Taylor, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Akers, Swift, Lamb, Dobbins, Dillon, Judy, Rager, Jefferson, Mims, Ruggs, Vaughn, Higgins, and Ayuk. All right.
Got it. That's right.
Ooh.
So I think I'm next, right? I've got the 19th pick, which essentially is the 207. I'm kind of struggling like Ethan was here. I don't necessarily love any of the wide receivers. There's some I would be okay with taking, Pittman or Shenault perhaps, but I'm going to go ahead and grab Jordan Love here, guys. Jordan Love taken in the first round. I realize you're going to have to just keep him on your taxi squad for a while. He's not going to really do anything for you for a couple of years, but maybe Green Bay sees something in him, and maybe they're going to move on from Aaron Rodgers sooner than we think. Stranger things have happened. He's talented. I think he can fit in what they're trying to do in Green Bay. So at this point in the draft, I see some upside there. So I'm going to swing for the fences and try to go for Jordan Love.
So drafting Jordan Love here is like paying all your bills on time and your credit score still going down.
Jordan Love is off my board.
Are you suggesting that I could pass on him and get him cheaper down the road? I mean, because I can see that. Yes, I mean, this is a guy you're drafting to hold for a while. This is not a guy that you think is going to increase in value that you can use as a trade chip. So I think it depends on your full.
If a player's not increasing in value, why do you want him?
Yeah,
because you're looking.
If literally his upside is that the value is the exact same, that's the maximum. You can get him anytime for the same price.
There's a world where Jordan Love 2 years down the road could be a stud. I mean, he could be a QB1. I'm not saying that's likely, but how likely is it that any of these other wide receivers are going to hit? I mean, maybe it's more probable, but if I'm looking at middle of the second round, I don't necessarily love the wide receivers, and this is just how I'm feeling right now. Looking at the guys on the board, I see some. I see issues with all these wide receivers that are left. I don't really like the running backs that are left, so I'm going to go for the Jordan Love who was drafted in the first round. So
too spicy.
That's my thinking. I thought about Cole Kmet here too. I mean, the Bears took him. He's probably going to be a tight end 1 this year, right, guys? So
yeah, he and Jimmy.
Yeah, if he catches 2 balls a game, he'll be a tight end 1. Good job.
Well, two out of the past 7 years, Rodgers didn't make it through the season. So, I mean, not the staple of health, but not bad.
Where do you guys think Jordan Love goes in Superflex drafts, guys?
Late second.
Right about here?
Yeah, right about here.
Yeah, I think this is a good. I mean, I think this is an appropriate spot for the upside in Jordan Love.
There's some idiot like me in every league that'll take him here. So
no, I mean, people will invest thinking he's a quarterback. I can get a first rounder for him in the future, but I don't think you can for the next 2 years. So I think that's a false thought. Anybody that thinks that they can get a first for him.
I think this ties back into why me and John were so hot and heavy for quarterbacks at the top. Jordan Love for the world, the type of players that everyone thinks they can make up for not taking quarterbacks early or valuing them higher, and it just doesn't work out more often than not.
I think it also speaks to what's left currently. If you're not high enough on anybody else, that with the quarterback landscape we had last year and the scrambling people had to do with quarterback injuries, we're reeling from a year where we had a lot of variance at the quarterback position, more so than what I've experienced as a dynasty player.
It's always that way.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go back and look at how many quarterbacks get a start every single year. It's always a ton.
Yeah. I think you have a fair point. Maybe I'm just being a little hot takey trying to get some conversation going, because I do think it's probably a better investment to invest in Pittman or Chenault or even Hamler or Chase Claypool is kind of intriguing to me. So there's still some interesting names on the board here that are probably better guys to place a bet on.
Well, so my whole thing, right? So we're in the second round here. I don't understand why you would want to draft someone hoping for a floor to get you fantasy points, right? So why wouldn't you rather try to get someone that could have a decently high ceiling and that could actually start on your fantasy team at some point, rather than just holding out hope for a player for a couple of years? Like that's just my whole thing. I just don't get that.
Well, I think that Jordan Love could, even as soon as next year, I know that it sounds crazy right now, but it says something that they drafted him where they did that. So I'm saying I think he's talented. I think there's a world. I mean, look at some of the quarterbacks we've just kind of poo-pooed last couple of years that came into the league.
But then you've got to change your story. I think that's what we're all pointing to. It's not that you can't make a good case there. It's that I know he's not going to, but you've got to make the case that he might, in which case it's, they trade Aaron Rodgers. Then it makes sense to kind of like him because you think there's a potential that he goes up or down or does something sooner rather than later. If you honestly think he's not going to do anything, he's not going to go up in value, he's not going to get in the field, then don't take him. But if you think one of those opportunities, like John was talking about, injuries, and what Kane was talking about, opportunities come up every year, then I think Love makes a little more sense. If you honestly think none of that's going to happen, then I wouldn't lean Love. I think that's what we're coming to here.
Yeah, no, that's fair, and that's a compelling argument for sure.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure that they would even think about trading Aaron Rodgers next year, because he'll have a $31.5 million dead cap in 2021. So then we're waiting 2 years now.
Right. And that's a long time. It is a long time in Dynasty. So, okay, well, you guys have convinced me I made a shitty pick. Let's move on to the 20th pick.
We all are. Apparently, we all suck at this according to each other.
Better to do it in a mock than in a real thing.
I love this. I love animosity.
Feeling really nice.
That's some real feelings out there.
I feel like we've went like at least a full round of at least somebody's crashing.
Yeah.
Pick. Like, actually, let me tell you why that pick you just made is total garbage.
I'm gonna tell you what that's.
Joe's brought us on, and we've bashed 2 of their picks. Like, thank you guys for having us on. I appreciate it.
Well, it's a good group because everyone here thinks differently. So that's what makes
Never bringing us back.
Yeah. I would prefer honestly.
I assume they asked me on to do that. Like, you don't
right,
say, "Hey,
damn right, Peter."
Because you want me to say good things.
Peter finally moves to the library and gets attitude. No, but so that actually puts us at the 20th overall pick, Peter, and that is you.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn here. I should probably turn back to running back, but not Ganna, because it's a mock, so I get to really just have fun. And then I'm torn between a couple of wide receivers.
Don't take mine.
I think I'm just going to take.
Don't take mine. Don't take mine.
Okay. And
Dude,
let's
it's
see
not
which.
real.
I'm trying to
be chill.
I'm trying to figure out which one's John's now.
If this guy freaking takes my guy, I swear I'm gonna blow my freaking gasket.
These headphones are coming off. I'm leaving the screen on.
It's not going to be fun if I don't get it now, but I don't think I'm gonna. The 2 guys I would choose between here is Hamler or Brian Edwards, and I'm just going to take Edwards for the lulls, to be honest, unless he's already been taken. Did I miss that?
All right.
Nope, he's available. You did not take my guy. I appreciate it.
I'm not taking Pittman or Bowden above Edwards or Hamilton, so you're safe.
What about Chenault?
That's my pick. That's the one.
I fucking knew it. No, I'm not doing that. No.
I'll take
knew
Chenault.
it, John.
So I will happily take Chenault here. I am not as convinced on DJ Chark as everybody else. So I think there's some opportunity in Jacksonville to go around.
I agree with you. If anyone had, I really don't mind the landing spot at all, as well as I can, independently not know how it's going to work out, but speculate on it. I think Jacksonville's pretty decent spot.
Yeah, and I'm a big believer in opportunity matters. So I think he's got a better opportunity than a lot of the other wide receivers left on this list.
Hey man, Kelvin Benjamin the first made us all look stupid for a little while there too. It can work out. Kelvin Benjamin the second can do it. I believe in it.
Kelvin Benjamin would probably still have value after year 1, I bet.
I'm sure.
What are you talking about? He had a 1,000-yard season in his rookie year. He went up in value after his.
That's why he made us all look stupid for that first year, and then the truth came out.
Hey, I traded DJ Chark
best upside.
Once Chark hit this year, I traded him. So if I get Chenault,
I traded him for Mike Gesicki. I happened to pick him up off the waiver wire the minute it happened. It was in a no money league, and people were giving me crap about my Mike Gesicki love. And at the same time, I was trying to tell people DJ Chark probably was a little less certain, and so I went just for the screenshot. It really upset people. It was great.
You have weird
tight end 12, baby. Tight end 12.
So, well, Peter, I think it's also funny, Peter. So you had the 20th pick with Edwards. Third one wide receiver. Draft capital speaks otherwise, but I think it's I'm not kidding here that you put out enough work for everybody to read that we don't have a lot of arguments with your picks because we can see what's coming and what argument you're already making, which I think is impressive.
Yeah.
It's
a mistake, isn't it? I should stop doing that. But yeah, I think everyone knows why.
So all your monetary gains from this show tonight are gone. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to give that away.
Damn it. Peter writes somewhere. Where the hell does he do that?
Patreon.com/pahowdy.
Who's yeah? Who's Peter Hody and what does he do? I'm gonna go Jalen Hurts with the 22nd pick overall.
What?
That's like a Jordan Love pick, man.
You obviously weren't listening when they ripped my pick.
Why though?
Will is setting up for 2023. I'm telling you.
I remember the lesson. You got to make a case for why it's going to happen, not just say I think it can't. So
listen, it's probably more likely because Carson Wentz has this track record of getting hurt all the time. Right?
I think Jalen Hurts has an opportunity to get a few starts in his first year and be more valuable than a lot of these other wide receivers that are on the board. So I don't have any problem taking that. I think they took him as a cheaper backup quarterback option, but also a fail-safe for when things happen to Wentz. I don't know Wentz's contract off the top of my head, but I do like that he went in the second round into the Eagles.
It's like 2 or 3 years still.
That's fine.
Nick Foles, but he can run. I like it.
But if he comes in and produces, we've seen that doesn't, like, if the producer is doing it, it's fine. So at this point in time, when it comes to a week-over-week starter and what I see that's left on the board, and some upside for team when you're picking the latter second round, I'm okay with taking Hurts here. And I don't really trust Pittman. I don't really like the rest of the wide receivers. The running backs are basically gone unless you want to go with somebody who's behind another guy that I don't really love. So Hurts upside to me here and having a potential to start at least, I think has a higher likelihood of increasing in value in year one than the rest of the picks on the board, in my opinion.
You could have just told us that you also have Carson Wentz on this team when we would have been like, oh, okay.
Oh, that makes sense.
We were like, oh, that's a good idea. You should have done that.
Made up team I got,
in fantasy does not make sense in reality, Philadelphia.
Anyway, yeah. So I also have Carson Wentz on this team, and but that's
pick.
That's kind of where I say I just
Great pick.
Stuck.
I forgot to mention I have Aaron Rodgers on the team. I take Jordan Love.
Well, then
there you go.
You should have told us.
That pick.
There you go.
I love that out. Oh,
that's all you need.
Makes sense.
I think we're in a far enough spot where I have no problem if that's.
No, we're at the end of the second. It's not. I mean, it's not a terrible pick. I am the same thing with Love. I mean, those two they're just off my board. I just won't take them. No interest.
Everyone's worth a mid-second. Right?
I mean, I'm taking Hurts. I'm taking Hurts over KJ Hamler every day of the week. So that's where we end up.
You're
Kane
not wrong.
with the 23rd pick in the conflicted Fantasy Joe's 2020 rookie mock draft after 3 rounds of drafting.
Hey, Ethan, what do you want for the 24th pick? Because I'll trade it because none of my assets are real. And I want to take Hamler right after Hurts because he just said that. And then next year we could mention it.
You're out of picks, Peter.
Damn. I will trade you all my 2021 first in this fictional league.
And
I have 7 of them. I just made that
pick when we roll back here in a year. I'm just gonna shut down Peter every time he tries to make a pick. Like, you remember that time you tried to you traded all my picks or your picks in this? Yeah, you don't get a draft this year, Peter. Get out. No, I don't think I'm allowed to do that. I am surprised with how many.
Wait, so Kane is on the clock.
Oh shoot,
Kane gets.
I don't want to.
It says Eaton.
I'm just gonna let y'all talk.
No, Kane's 23rd. Ethan's 24th.
Who listed that as 23rd? Oh, this is the 22nd. My bad.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take Michael Pittman Jr. I think he's just a solid wide receiver, and I think the landing spot is not bad. They needed wide receiver help in Indianapolis. I'm going to take him. I like him.
Listen to the T.Y. Hilton hate on you. That's terrible. You shouldn't be that.
I think they needed more than one receiver there.
Zach Pascal.
What is with everyone thinking every team needs 2 great wide receivers?
They don't even need to be great. They just need to be serviceable.
The Packers don't.
Zach Pascal.
That's right.
Serviceable.
I was about to say that.
Hell. Serviceable.
Like, we have Devontae Adams. We don't need.
Wait, who was the other guy?
Give me more quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Zach Pascal.
if the Colts had taken a tight end by this point in time, he would be drafted.
No,
I can't.
I don't think he
we're
would
7
have.
here.
No.
No, the Saints.
I mean, are
took
you
one
saying
and no one
Pittman? You
lost
think
this year.
Pittman is going to be a tight end? Like, I'm not sure.
He'll run the same routes that Ebron did.
Okay, yeah, but there's no
solid.
Andrew
He's
Luck
solid.
funneling targets to tight ends. So I guess I just don't understand. I mean, I don't hate the pick. I mean, he was like the 32nd pick in the second round. Like, this is perfect value.
Mhm.
I'm just like, I'm not sure like what the argument that's being made for him is.
There isn't.
Side of like, yo, this is a good value pick because draft capital's there. He's going to get opportunities. Unlike the other wide receivers that they have, he might be like a tight end, I guess. Like, I just don't understand. I don't understand that. I'm not sure I'm following, I guess, the logic here. I do love that you guys have now taken all three of the highest injury risk players in my injury guide for wide receivers, so that I don't have to worry about them anymore. So that makes me feel good. You guys literally almost went 1, 2, 3. I have Edwards and Chenault, my injury risk rating, which I basically came up with using math. Peter will love this. To decide to take out my objective bias on a player's injury history. And
Joke's on you. Peter actually hates math.
Yeah. Boo a priori knowledge.
I'm just kidding. It's totally based off film. So that
Perfect.
Peter definitely hates it then.
I'm in.
But no, Chenault has a 7.5 out of 10, which is a high risk. And then Brian Edwards, who Peter loves, also has a 7.5 out of 10. I will note that this scale does weight a little bit more heavily recent injuries. So that hurt Edwards. If he gets a year or two out, he probably won't be a high risk anymore. And then Pittman is actually at 6.5 out of 10, which is moderate risk. And I don't think I have anyone else. No one else based on their history is over a 4. So, and that's Mims. So yeah, I thank you. Now I have to think about if I'm going to take my number 1 running back risk here with 24, which I don't love either.
Please don't trade me my 2021 first, my 2022 first.
Please don't take your running back here, because I'm not going to be able to handle it.
I don't want to.
There's only one other running back that was drafted.
There's
two
that I like.
No, Jalen Hurts is already taken.
Got 2 that I like.
Who am I? Oh, okay.
But I don't think I like either of them in the second. So.
You know who. I mean, he's the only guy left to pick yet, so it's not like we can say names and spoil it.
Ooh, I like this delay, though, for the last pick. I'm on the edge of my seat.
There are at least 2 running backs I think haven't been selected.
I've got one running back and a lot of wide receivers left. Who am I missing?
Well, it depends if you're calling one a running back or a wide receiver.
That's what
Buffalo and Tennessee is who I've got left, John, if that helps.
Oh, yeah.
Zach Moss and Darren.
Oh, that's right.
Tennessee
took Darrington Evans at the end. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I was trying to preserve the name since he seemed to be trying to draw it out, but yeah, that's cool too.
Yeah,
I mean, Peter, your firsts are falling flat, so we gotta.
Yeah, apparently no one wants first in this game.
This is garbage.
We're all win now.
He's got a quarterback that he's eyeing. They haven't been taken yet, but he just knows if he gets them, it's going to freaking increase in value. He just knows.
Right.
Peter takes up and takes Eason or something. Anyway, okay.
Oh shit!
I already told you who I would be trading up for, guys. Like,
I mean, that's honestly.
So can we just have Peter try and sell us on KJ Hamler?
Yeah, because I'm not sold. I'll be honest, I'm not a Hamler guy. So, Peter, if you have a great argument for him that can sway me one way or another, like
a great argument, I can tell you what I'll
hit me with your subpar argument at the best.
Okay, I'll try my best to be subpar.
Just go with,
but I'm
go with running back hit rates and have him take a running back. I would take a running back here. I would take.
I'd probably take a running back here.
Yeah.
That's quite the KJ Hamler argument.
Well,
his argument.
Give me a second. How long did you talk about a quarterback you didn't think was valuable? Hamler's hit rate for having a top 12 season based on his breakout age is 20%. That's quarterbacks. Try and keep up. Okay. Hamler broke out at 19 with a 20% dominator rating. The drafted in the second round with that breakout age, you have a 26% chance of having a top 12 season, 39% of having a top 24 season. If we switch to a 30% threshold, which is what RotoViz says is a better, more predictive metric, but that's mostly because you cut out a lot of bad players, but you also lose players like Doug Baldwin, for example, who get highlighted by the 20% threshold. Hamler broke out at 20 years old. He has a 33% chance with a 20% breakout age at that threshold being drafted in the second round. Having a top 24 season. Now, I don't like his landing spot, but especially at this value, the end of the second, the start of the third round, I especially lean on the fact we don't really know what's going to happen with situations, and they change fairly rapidly with it and unexpectedly as well. I can talk about his overall profile if you like. Essentially, he was really productive and highly efficient. He's actually more efficient than most wide receivers we're drafting this year. He got a 1.86 yards per team pass attempt above his team's average. The only players in this draft to do better than that are Justin Jefferson and Tyler Johnson. CeeDee Lamb, for example, who's one of the highest scorers in that metric, was at 1.7. Now, both of them are in worse situations with worse depth charts around them, so you kind of expect CeeDee Lamb to be a little lower than someone like Hamler playing at a lower conference with less team competition. But it's the Golden Gandy argument as well. If a good player, like a good NFL player, wound up in this situation at this conference with this team, you would expect him to do what KJ Hamler did. So, like, I don't know if he's going to be able to elevate to the NFL level, but he did everything that I can hope that a player of that caliber does if he was thrust into that situation. And that's my shortened version of the Hamler.
I have a question for you, Peter. When you describe all that to me, I love the argument. How is this how does Hamler compare to a guy like Andy Isabella last year, who also went in the second round, also was a mega producer, also had the speed to be an NFL receiver? How do those two compare, like, based on all the stuff you just said? Does Hamler have an argument over Isabella? Because I personally loved Isabella last year.
And went to a equally terrible landing spot in terms of, competition. And it's much the same argument. He was very efficient in a poor conference, was productive based on his age. And I think he had similar breakout ages. Yeah, age 19 and 20. So he compares pretty well across his production as well. And that goes back to, I don't know if Isabella, for example, we don't know much about him yet. At the NFL level, he got like, five targets and scored 2 touchdowns on them. So his efficiency looks good at the NFL level, but we know nothing about whether he can elevate yet. But the very few touches that he had, he did fine on them. To be fair, it's the same with Hamler going into the league here. He's going into a situation where you've got a lot of players we think can do better, probably with better draft capital, both with second round draft capital themselves. So it's pretty good comp from last year to this year, actually. It's rough, but end of the second round, pretty good.
Yeah. Did you say something about the conference? Because didn't Hamler play for Penn State? So he played in the Big Ten. I mean, didn't Isabella play for like UMass or something, right?
That's correct.
I don't think more general situation than conference. I just say conference as a shorthand for, he's not playing on one of these teams that everyone values. Andy Isabella is playing in the Independence Conference for Massachusetts, according to what I got here.
So I think there's a big difference too in those guys. I mean, that for me, that's big. I know that Isabella played in a couple of handful of games. I think
that could be a positive for Hamler.
Yeah. So just wanted to throw that out
slightly
there.
Better. So as someone recently told me, the Independence Conference isn't even a conference. It's just a group of teams that have different schedules and they play different teams. So it's pretty hard to judge it as a conference.
They've separated from the other conferences to declare their independence. Okay. Back to Ethan with the 24th pick.
He didn't make that joke.
Yeah. I mean, I like the argument. I definitely did not know all that.
KJ Hamler.
I did not know all that.
I'd probably still want him running back.
I did not know all of that stuff about Hamler. I got burned on Andy Isabella last year. I see way too many comparisons between the two, and I'm probably going to make a mistake here because Peter's got the numbers, and the numbers are saying that Hamler is a pretty good choice here. But I hate it. Gosh, I don't want to draft this running back because I don't like him. So
Doesn't matter.
We're
Kinda
pushing.
matters.
We're
It's
pushing
your
1:30
team.
East Coast time. Ethan, come on, let's make it.
all right, fine.
This running back Jay walked in front of Ethan while he was at a.
No take lock. It doesn't matter what you think of him.
Fine, whatever.
football.
I'm
Feelings
just gonna
don't matter.
forget all of it and just take the dude that I want to talk about, which is Devin Duvernay. You guys can hate the pick. I don't care what the numbers say. I liked Devin Duvernay before he got drafted. I thought that
Really?
his speed and his usage at Texas was. I just feel like he's going to fit really well into what Baltimore is trying to do here. I think that he is going to find that they're going to find that he is more reliable than a guy like Marquise Brown. He's a little bit more stout. And I just think that I like having a piece of this offense here at the end of the second. I think there's probably 4 or 5 guys that are all, perfectly fine picks here. I think that Hamler has an argument. I think that Duvernay has an argument. Obviously, Zach Moss is the running back I will not take before the third round. I'm sorry. I just don't. I don't trust him from an injury perspective, which is kind of my forte. And I also just don't think that he's not nearly as good as what some people have been hyping him up to be. So I'm out on Zach Moss in the second round. I think Duvernay has the best combination of upside with team fit here and opportunity. So I'm sure Peter is, seething over there after making a very good argument for Hamler, but I'm just going to go with Duvernay because he's my guy and I like him. And this is made up. So
I'd probably been running back.
Devin Duvernay is going to just absolutely kill it. And you guys are all going to be sad when he's sitting on my team and you're going to wish you'd taken him.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to this mock and be like, curses.
I have Duvernay above Hamler, so I don't disagree with you there. I do have him below Chase Claypool and Bowden, but not by a lot.
Yeah, I have them below Hamler, but I have them both below Moss and Evans. That's
Moss
value, though.
Moss was the next guy on my list. Just
the other running back I was considering. So I dig that. Darrington Evans. Okay. I think that he is a perfect complement to what they got going on with Derrick Henry right now. So definitely like him going to Tennessee.
I'm just not a Duvernay guy.
Appalachian
I can't be sold on Duvernay. That's just me.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah,
we're at the end of the second.
I haven't heard many people talk about him. So
it's all good. And there are going to be some busts in the second round of your draft.
Well, and according to Peter,
looks like he had one good season.
Several 2021
age 21.
Yeah, so that was just his last season when the rest of the wide receivers also got hurt. And Texas had a terrible defense, so the only way that they were actually going to score points is through the air, because their running back was also injured. So it was kind of just throw it to Duvernay or nothing.
Someone's got to bet on the late breakouts so that I can scoop up the early breakouts. I mean, I'm good with people doing that. It's fine.
So I do have a question. Right. Where would this is Superflex, and I talked about it all night on the dummies, just waiting for Eason or Fromm to land anywhere that would be a good landing spot. Let's say one of them does go tomorrow to a place like New Orleans or Indianapolis, something like that. Do either of those have the chance to anybody here to jump into this second round, even with not being drafted in the first 3 rounds?
Yes.
Okay.
Eason,
where would they
not Fromm?
Where would they have to go? Where would he have to go?
Well, I think anytime that you can get in a spot where we could hope that he could play, right? So like landing spots you said, you could add in the Patriots.
If the Patriots take one of those two, I think they end up jumping very high. Not very high, but I mean they're 5 or 6 spots ahead of where we are right now.
Right. And I guess if it's at the point where I'm either taking, a 3rd or 4th tier wide receiver that probably isn't going to hit, or a quarterback that probably isn't going to hit, I'm going to take the quarterback because at least he's going to hold at least some backup value.
Let's put which one did you say you liked more? Did you say Eason?
Eason, yep.
Okay, let's say Eason does go to the Patriots. Let's put him there. That's like the best place. Would Will and Ryan, you guys took the quarterbacks, I believe. Would you take Eason over Love or Hurts?
That's a great question.
I'd probably still take Hurts.
Still hurts.
And probably still love with the first. I the fourth round quarterback. I'm not a big fan. So
Yeah. As much as I believe in the Patriots and Bill Belichick, I don't think I could do that. I'd rather take Love, despite the arguments against him, just because he's got that draft capital attached to him. So, I mean, I wouldn't hate it if someone did. I wouldn't sit there and think it was a horrible pick, but I wouldn't do it myself.
Does anyone know? Sorry,
no, go ahead.
Didn't mean to interrupt. Does anyone know the difference between, like, I used to know it, but I'm not a big quarterback evaluator. But I think it was Sean Slavin over at 2QBs used to post likelihoods and hit rates for picks at quarterback. And I don't know the separation between the end of the first round and the second round. I seem to remember them being it really dropping off quickly after like the first 15 picks with quarterbacks. What I'm asking is if Love being picked at the end of the first round isn't as significant that it's a first round pick compared to like a running back or a wide receiver. I don't know how that equates.
Yeah. I know that like Jordan McNamara has talked about that, and there's a significant difference between I think the cutoff for him is like top 10 quarterbacks and then guys drafted later in the first round. So yeah, that's a good point.
But I think with the new CBA that whether it's hit rates or not, it changes a little bit, just knowing that, at least for me, that knowing that quarterbacks can get that fifth year option and knowing that teams are more willing to move into that first round to keep that option. So I think that's something that you just have to keep in mind as well. Not saying that I obviously don't know hit rates because I don't do numbers at all ever.
That's also that's
the general sense is fine because I don't think there are so few quarterbacks that hit compared to wide receiver and running back probably that
right.
Hit rates are real risky. And you just sparked a thought that I've been looking to ask people about. Does it make more sense to take running back in the first round these days? I know generally we're against that, but I'm thinking as a team perspective in terms of contracts, where so many second contracts are negative for a team, and you get that fourth year option. Like I remember people making that argument for the Patriots last year. They did it because the end of the first round, the contract isn't that much high. It isn't a first round $1 million contract like at the top of the round, but they also get a fourth year option, which is cheaper than extending a guy another year or another 2 years only for him to fall off.
Yeah, just go get another new one.
Well, I do think some teams factor that in, but we haven't really seen it with like a later first round pick lately that then hasn't. I feel like holdouts too. The running backs are going to like band together, in my opinion, at some point and demand more pay.
There's going to be a running back strike.
I mean, honestly, they're.
I don't know if that's within their player union rights to form their sub union, but if it is, they definitely should.
The best part is more running backs will come in the draft. So
yep, there's always going to be more running backs.
And Kane, talking about that fifth year option, we're talking dynasty here, man. 5 years out doesn't matter.
Well, I think it's harder to judge.
I was talking about the team, so like.
Peter, I know what you're talking about too. Like, yeah, you get because a fifth year option on a running back is cheaper than a franchise tag for a first round pick. Like that's the idea is you can completely use them up and spit them to the curb.
Because people love playing on those franchise tags.
But you got 3 years, just draft another one. So I honestly don't think it makes sense anymore.
Yeah, because you get four. You get
a fan of running backs not mattering.
Yeah, because you get the fifth year option for first round picks, and then it's 4 years standard for every other pick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You probably would need some more change. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. We're going to see some change, obviously, whether it's running backs pushing to be considered wide receivers or something.
I don't think we're going to see any change, Peter. I don't think they have any power to do it. I mean, the new CBA is signed, and running backs are a small percentage of the overall player pool. I don't think they have a voice. So
no, they don't. But I mean, that's some change comes from literally not having a voice. Is when you literally start making a change. It's like, why would I fucking declare? I'm gonna get beaten to shit. Play as a third round running back, get no money. Like,
yeah. So
some running backs are gonna start to really question that.
To Peter's credit, is we actually did see someone in the last draft that was a 5-star running back prospect in college and transferred to wide receiver at a different school because he thought it would give him a longer career in the NFL. And that's Jalen Hurd. So we're
Well,
we're
that
seeing
really
that
has
at least
worked
a little
out well
bit.
for him.
He's got
But
a
at
10
least
inch
Took a
hand.
first round wide receiver. They've replaced him already.
I mean, Lev Bell, Melvin Gordon, they've tried to make points that, look, we want more money. And I don't know that it's really working out in their favor, you know?
Yeah, and David Johnson, Todd Gurley did them no favors.
Yeah.
Right,
David
but-
Johnson, Todd Gurley took what they had to.
Whether it worked for Jalen Hurd or not, I think it's important to note that it happened.
Yeah,
That's what
Right.
I'm saying.
And
I'm
then
not
you're
saying like next
Oh,
year
yeah.
they're all going to be wide receiver. I'm saying we're seeing some running backs start to make noise about it. I don't know fucking how long.
I think
stuff will
it'll.
change.
I think.
Don't
I
get
think.
me wrong, but I mean it will.
We're on the right track. That it'll start.
Yeah.
in
Not
college.
continually going to get a fresh crop of kids going, oh yeah, it's fine, I get screwed, get no money, and then we go be a car salesman. Eventually, they're going to change something.
yeah. I
It-
actually think we're all on a
There's no
similar
incentive
page.
for the NFL to do it.
Yeah. Ugh.
I just think it's going to happen on the college landscape first
Yeah.
before things really happen
Maybe.
at the NFL. Just the way that college is.
They
Well,
turn
you're-
up to
and you're seeing it
draft their
right now.
fresh new-
Well, Jordan Whittington was a 5-star running back recruit at Texas who just transferred to wide receiver at Texas, right? So part of that might be because they also signed the number 1 running back overall in this recruiting class, but that's neither here nor there.
How much do running backs in college get paid versus the wide receivers in college?
A lot more
They get paid more. Okay, well maybe it won't happen then if the running backs get
from
paid
the
more.
boosters.
I'm not sure.
Just
So
ask Eric Dickerson.
that's I kind of figured the running backs might get paid more in college
Yeah.
than the wide receivers, but I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
you're
So
right.
Well, guys, we should probably start to wrap this up. We're like 1:30 Eastern time. Anyone want to share any final thoughts, or should we just get on out of here?
This is fun. Thank you guys for coming on.
thank you for having me. I'm always happy to jump on and do a mock right after. It's a fun exercise. It forces me to look at my top 24, or as I tweeted out, top 25, because apparently I can't count. So it's a fun exercise that everybody should do immediately, because I think you do need to have like almost that immediate unbiased reaction, because let's face it, 4 days from now, you're going to hear a million opinions. So have your own opinion right off the bat, and then make adjustments from there. The list that I tweeted out, it's not going to be my final list of my top 25 rookies in Superflex, but it's where I'm thinking right now. So I think it's good. It's an important part of the process. And I love coming on here to be forced to do that process and then get to go through a mock and hear different people's opinions. It's a good way to do it.
Yeah, for sure. And just we have a nice.
Yeah, thanks,
nice,
guys.
Go ahead, Peter. I'm sorry. I didn't mean
No,
to-
I was also gonna say I appreciate coming on, but it's okay if you don't want me to say it, it's fine. No,
No,
I
we
really
do, we
enjoyed
do.
coming on, had fun. Echo everything John said. Really appreciate you bringing me on. Yeah, something I found the most useful last 2 years is actually writing down and making sure I go back and check what I think at different points, not just overall. So pre-draft, post-draft, and to add to what John was saying, I think it's really important to figure out what you think straight away. It's going to change as long as you can be okay with that. You can move your opinion when you get new information or other good opinions. But it's really uncertain when you first hear it. But it's a good idea to get your own opinion and then go look for what other people think. And straight after is the best way of doing it, because I'm going to get shifted off of KJ Hamler by someone because it's just not going to happen. And then KJ Hamler hits, and I'm like, why did I stop not liking him? Oh, that's right. Eden told me, fuck that guy. I'm never listening to him again. He's not listening. So I thought
I heard that.
Way to go back and see what I did right, what I did wrong, what changed my mind, what do I need to stop doing? I mean, the one I'm rolling out as an example of that is I liked Kalen Ballage post-draft more than Jalen Samuels. And I know Jalen Samuels ain't worth much now, but he's certainly the better in the NFL. And it's because I was overrating that landing spot and the potential of a 3-down roll rather than a running back in a good situation on a good team with an elite skill set. And so I tried to make adjustments based on it. So it's a good idea to form your opinion quickly, then go back and look at it. So I'd add that into. But
All
yeah,
right.
thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. And
Thank you.
had a lot of fun.
Thank you. As always, it's always fun.
Yeah, I'll only add just one thing because I think personally it's more fun to cheer for a fantasy team full of players you enjoy cheering for. Like because at the end of the day, like fantasy football is all supposed to be for fun. And if your team's filled with players that you just enjoy watching and enjoy rooting for, well, then that sounds like a whole lot of enjoyment to me. That's just my thoughts.
Yeah, for like $25 a year, depending what
Yeah.
league you're in. Yeah.
Just
I'll
play
take it.
Flea Flicker, man. It's free. Just have fun.
Peter has 345 leagues. All
Just
All
wide
for-
receivers.
yeah, just and all he does is talk trash during the rookie drafts, like to the other.
Exactly.
Just
Your running backs suck. I've got Nikhil Harry.
Oh, Nikhil Harry. Oh man.
What could have been, you know?
No,
I'm just
classic
kidding.
kid-
I'm
classic
just
kid,
kidding.
you
I've traded for
What are
Nikhil
the-
Harry so many times this
What are the
offseason for
chances?
fun.
What are the chances again, Peter, on him now?
Not great.
Not
great.
It's not good, Bob. It's not good.
I found my first share of Nikhil Harry like a couple weeks ago.
Found it
and
like
I,
under a mattress.
it was like just added on randomly to a
Thrown
trade.
it on the floor.
He found it on like
Someone-
the bottom of his shoe. He's like,
Someone
"What the
added it
fuck?"
to a trade, and I was like, I don't want this guy, and I traded him like an hour later. So
Nice. All right, Ethan.
That's
Final words.
Disgusting. Oh, thank you for bringing me on, guys. I love this show, and I love coming on and seeing Bosch. And anytime I get to hang out with Peter is always great. I apologize that I like ruined his whole night when I made him do his best KJ Hamler pitch, and then I still completely rejected. I'm sure that really hurt his feelings. But no, thank you
You're
for
not
bringing me on.
forgiven.
The
You're
it's
best
not
like
was
people do that all the time to Peter. Like they ask him for advice, and they're like, I'm not actually going to listen.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did, and I
That's the
felt
way it
bad.
should be, man.
The problem is I
yeah.
got too many.
Don't draft my team, draft yours.
I got way too many flashbacks of Andy Isabella, and it just totally ruined it for me. I appreciate you guys bringing me on. I have like 2 seconds to pitch something that I've been working on for a very long time. Is that allowed? I'm going to do it anyway. Whatever.
you gotta
Sure,
go.
why
You gotta
not?
Cut
go.
me
You
off
gotta
if you
go.
don't like it. This year I did my own rookie draft, but it's from a completely injury perspective. So I went back and looked up injury histories for about 100 prospects. There is a little bit more math involved than there used to be. I used to just do red light, yellow light, green light for injury risk. I have created basically a formula to input their injury history to compare players side by side based on position, based on their injury history, what actually happened to them, and then also based on their risk of re-injury in the future. And so I've done a ton of work on that, and that guide is out. It's $10. My amazing wife, who is asleep in the other room, is a graphic designer, so it looks very much more professional than most of the guides that you'll see out there. But my rookie guide is basically their injury histories. It's the only place that you can find it for these players. It's the best indicator we have of future injury. You can buy it on the Fantasy Headliners website. So you just go on thefantasyheadliners.com and you'll see it there. It's $10. Please go buy it because I put a ton of work into it. And it really is something unique. It pairs beautifully with whatever draft guide that if you are someone that buys a rookie guide, my guide will pair beautifully with it. You do not have to feel like you only have to buy one. This is most likely all new information for you. So it's just it's a supplement to everything else that's on the market, which was my goal. I designed it that way. So that's all I'm going to say. But yeah, definitely reach out to me if you have any more questions on that.
Yeah, congratulations on getting that done. That's awesome. And I love the unique perspective, offering something new and fresh. That's great. Will, you want to say anything? I'll give you the final word. I just want to say, I wrote down on a piece of paper. I'm going to take this into all my Superflex rookie drafts, and I open it up, and it says
KJ Hamler, no matter what.
Jordan Love, no matter what. Actually,
No AJ Dillon.
Oh God, darn it. Oh, hey, I wouldn't want to.
Hey, man.
I'm running back with some elite traits, but fine.
You're all as good at this as Kevin Costner. Go for it. It's fine.
Will, anything to add, or should we just get on out of here?
Oh yeah, I was actually gonna just pair quickly off Peter what you're talking, or we were joking about like people asking Peter for advice. I think it's funny when somebody finds out that because Ryan and I we do the Joes. It's more casual podcast, but as soon as they find out you do something, the amount of times people come up to you and say, "Hey, should I do this trade?" And then you say, "Of course you should." They say, "Okay, I'm going to offer it." That's one of my biggest pet peeves in getting asked for advice is that when you say a trade's really in your favor, but you're like going to go offer that to somebody, I'm like, oh, this doesn't count until somebody's offered it to you. It's on the table. I can't just like one-sided trade offers are, I think some of the most like not annoying, but I'm always just like, oh no, why did I even put brain power into this?
They're annoying.
But like, if I'm going to take brain power and answer your question,
Hey, John,
it makes me sad.
Dude, you're just way too nice. I almost never respond to trade questions just because they irritate me. And
I'm not big on like I'm barely on Twitter. So this is all just,
people can be like, well, freaking screw that guy. He doesn't help me with my league. And like, I'm sorry. Like I go to Matt Kelly's school of just like, I want your fantasy team to succeed. I give you a ton of free stuff. Like, please do not hit my DMs for random trade questions. Like, I'm sorry, I don't respond to those anymore.
Don't worry.
Don't tag me in all your
GM.
Don't tag me in your trades. Like, I love you guys. Please follow me, but like, I'm not your like personal slave to like ask every question that you have. I'm sorry. Kane will freaking help you out with that, but I will not.
and also, if we had $1 for every time we heard the phrase "trade back" in the first like 8 to 10 picks, we'd have at least several dollars.
Bro, I'm trying to trade back. I was trying to trade to 2021, but you guys wouldn't let me. So
Peter was out of picks.
You're offering freaking 4 picks for the.
How can I be out of picks? No one took him. No one traded for him. I still got them all. I give you all my 2021 picks.
Nah, in this hypothetical league, you had traded them already.
For what? I didn't get nothing. Man, that was
you got a quarterback.
You got KJ Hamler.
You got a quarterback.
Damn it.
All right.
Look at this.
All right. This is fun.
Yes, this is fun.
I enjoyed this quite a bit. Regardless of your guys' opinions about AJ Dillon, I still had a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was great. Guys, thank you. Kane, John, Peter, Ethan, thank you so much. On behalf of Will Greenwood, I'm Ryan Livergood, and we are the Fantasy Joes.